After a miserable season last year, there weren't too many people in Danny McManus's corner. Danny Mac had his worst season as a pro. His team had just one win, and his career had hit a roadblock. But when Greg Marshall took over as head coach, he stated that McManus was still the man in Hamilton, and he stood by his quarterback through an up and down season. Tonight, Marshall may just get his payback. McManus has his team on the verge of a playoff berth. This Cats come back. Hamilton hosts Ottawa tonight on Wendy's Friday Night Football.
Well, time's great football, but all when it feels is right. We're gonna kick back, relax, watching football on a Friday night. It's Friday, and we're gonna be hard to take. It's Friday, from coast to coast, the CFL is Canada's game. Well, we're all pumped up to party, and we're ready for a fight. Come on, get back, relax, watching Friday Night Football, boys and females. When the CFL football game is up for grabs, it's Friday Night Football tonight.
Couple of straight wins and life is good again for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They'll have another huge crowd on hand at Iverwin Stadium tonight to watch them take on the Ottawa Renegades on Wendy's Friday Night Football. Hi again, everybody. Dave Randolph with you. There's Jock Climby and Chris Schultz. And as we've been mentioning throughout the entire pregame show, where were you? Danny McManus in his 15th CFL season, 7th in Hamilton, just 299 yards away from 50,000 for his career. However, let me tell you this. I know this for sure. McManus cares much more about getting his team into the playoffs, which he can do with a win tonight. And he won't be going head-to-head with another veteran, Kerry Joseph, who's out for the season, and it's Darnell Kennedy's job now.
Yes, David, indeed. Folks, in tough in Ottawa. Joseph is out. Kennedy's in. Renegades are done.
Oh.
No, seriously, just kidding. But here's a guy right now who's got an opportunity to try and vault himself into another level as a quarterback. But I think this game comes down to how Coach Pow Pow handles this young guy. And for Coach Pow Pow, he's got to be thinking about his future, his job next year. And if he can get a win with a young guy like this in this situation, using some creative football calls, Schultze, I think he's got a chance of keeping his job. Otherwise, not so good.
Jock, I think it means a lot that everyone has a good football game tonight, especially the Hamilton Ticats. If they can duplicate that real emotional, aggressive attitude that they had the previous game Friday night in Winnipeg, I think they can dominate this game. I mean, you have to understand, you have to have the mentality that you are going to take a playoff spot. Nothing is given to you. You have to have the mentality of right here, right now. I love the 3rd and 1s that Coach Marshall goes for, even when they're on the goal line. They have to do that again because this is not going to be easy. More than anything else, the biggest difference I see is attitude from the players with the Ticats. They attack defenses and offenses where before they kind of sat back and let things happen.
They were hungry last week on the road in Winnipeg. We mentioned, Schultz, a big crowd tonight in Hamilton. They're going to set a franchise record for attendance. It's been a great story, but we ask you tonight in the Rona poll question, which team do you think has improved the most off the field? BC, Hamilton, or Toronto? Results, as always, at halftime. Stasia Neal of Calgary, you could win a 50-inch Prima Plasma TV if a kickoff is returned for a touchdown in tonight's game, thanks to Safeway's Touchdown to Win promotion. And if a second kickoff is returned, you could win $1 million.
The turnaround in Tiger Town has been nothing short of miraculous. The stands at Iverwin half empty a year ago. Tonight, the Tiger Cats will establish a new single-season attendance record. On the field, the Cats are one win away from a playoff spot after winning one game all last season. It is the best story in Canadian football in years. And for added fun, it's a nice night. 10 degrees here. Wind southwest at 15. That's left to right across your TV screen tonight, Glenn.
Well, Joe Palpau's had to answer more questions about what's going on in the office buildings with the Ottawa Renegades and not what's going on the field. He's had to endure a ton of injuries this season. 30 of his 44 starters have had to take at least 2 games off, including all 3 quarterbacks. However, the Ottawa Renegades still have a chance to make the playoffs.
Hamilton's Greg Marshall has the inside track on Coach of the Year in his rookie season. The Tiger Cats have improved by 700% in the win column, and Marshall deserves a great deal of the credits. Final home game of 2004's regular season for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and the Renegades will kick it off. Dropping deep for Hamilton is Chris Martin, number 29. The 25, taken by Gilliam, and it's a nice return to get the Tiger Cats evening underway. 25 yards there for Gilliam. Danny McManus has a chance for a special place in CFL history, and it just might happen in this one tonight. Here's the lineup for Danny Mack, receiver DJ Flack. 38 yards away from his first ever 1,000-yard season for DJ Flick. And Carl Coulter centers the Tiger Cats offensive line. As a group, these guys have allowed just 9 sacks all season, and that is the fewest in the league. Tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Tums. Tums tackles heartburn fast.
288 yards passing last week versus Winnipeg for Danny McManus. He needs 299 tonight for 50,000 in his career to join Damon Allen and Ron Lancaster.
Penalty against the Tiger Cats on the return, so Hamilton begins at the 40 instead of out closer to midfield. McManus puts it up. It's a beauty. And falls between 3. The intended target was DJ Flick.
Hamilton's Troy Davis needs 54 yards to become the all-time leader in Ticat history. Well, Reggie Givens in the middle of that linebacking core for Ottawa says he does not want that to happen on his shift. And one change in the secondary, well, one of many changes this season, I should say, is that Corey Banks starts at halfback his first game in the Canadian Football League.
Hebert at safety, 2nd and 10, Tiger Cats. Davis sliding out of the backfield, and he'll be stopped short of a first down.
And right over there to make that tackle, put a big hit on Troy Davis was Reggie Givens. You know, all the talk all week long around Danny McManus and his 50,000, and Troy Davis and the 54 yards he needs rushing. Now, this is a swing pass, but Reggie Givens is fired up to put a hat on Troy Davis every chance he gets. And watch how Reggie Givens early in this game flies over there and puts that hit on number 32. Let him know it's there.
Jason Armstead has been brilliant for the Renegades, particularly of late on returns. He's back just inside his 30-yard line. Just got it away. Jamie Borum. Armstead spinning and hit by 3 Tiger Cats simultaneously. Darnell Kennedy gets to start again with Kerry Joseph gone for the year. Jason Armstead, one Ottawa receiver to watch without doubt. The rookie from Mississippi has speed to burn and has been sensational on returns as well. And up front for the Renegades, Val St. Germain, one of the few to have started all games for the often maligned offensive line. Just inside the 25. Browning takes the pitch. Good beginning for the Renegades on the ground.
Adriano Belli is under the lineup for the Hamilton Tiger Cats on defense. Devontae Peterson draws in his spot. Peterson is all kind of attention this week because of his clothesline hit on Keith Stokes in the Winnipeg game a week ago. And in the secondary, Wayne Shaw with 4 interceptions since moving to the middle of a defensive secondary that Greg Marshall simply does not want to mess with right now. They're playing their best football in the last 3 weeks.
Brownick picked up 6. This is 2nd and 4. Ottawa. Brownick again, and they were waiting. Tim Cheatwood was there.
Well, Well, yeah, he was. Tim Cheatwood just flew right down to the middle of that play. Watch how Tim Cheatwood, working one-on-one on Alexander Gauthier, throws him aside, steps into that tackle, and Josh Ronick has absolutely nowhere to go. Both teams 2 and out to start this game offensively.
Pat Fleming. Down near the 45. Jason Goss, number 27, away from one tackle. He's inside the 40. The Ticats have great position for their next sequence of down.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Wendy's, the official hamburger of the CFL. Wendy's, it's better here. By Molson Canadian, I am Canadian. By Rona, the how-to people. And by Rogers, your world right now.
Tiger Cats quarterback Danny McManus is tossed for 49,701 yards in his career. He closes in on 50,000 here tonight, and putting that another way, that's 28.34 miles through the air for Danny McManus. Passing all the way from Hamilton to St. Catharines, technically speaking.
Procedure, Hamilton 95, still first down.
Well, to move the sticks, he's going to need an extra 5 in this series right here, because the procedure call right there puts the Hamilton Tiger Cats in 1st and 15. But really is incredible the numbers Danny McManus has put up when you consider his first 5 years. He really wasn't the full-time starter.
Ticats looking 1st and 15. It's Davis along the ground. Nice hold. Troy Davis far side. And it looks like he's very close to a first down.
And no sign of Reggie Gibbons on that play. This time Troy Davis wins the battle between middle linebacker and run stopper, who lines up right there. And Troy Davis, who's the tailback in the I formation with Julian Radlin, the lead blocker, in front of him. Nice kick-out block there. And Troy Davis is into the secondary.
Close enough to measure.
You hate to be the answer of a trivia question when people want to say, well, when Troy Davis became the Ticat all-time leading rusher and passed Jerry McDougal, well, what team were they playing that night? You don't want to be that answer. There's how close he is.
54 yards behind McDougal coming in
half the time.
And he gets enough for the first down there. So the Tiger Cats march on. Davis again. And it takes 4 Renegades to bring him down.
It was quite a battle at the point of attack. Julian Radlin had stepped up. I believe it was Kelly Wilshire. And Julian Radlin is the lead block. Octon is for Troy Davis. He's right here. He steps up here and makes this block. Watch the contact at the point of attack. Right there. Big block on Kai Ellis. Kai Ellis fights it off and gets to Troy Davis. Some big-time contact on that play.
Gain of 3. This is 2nd and 7. Tiger Cats just inside the 25. McManus looks to put it up. Has time. End zone toss. Jump ball. Who's got it? No catch. Tunkara had the opportunity. McManus floated that one just a little bit.
Yeah, Tunkara probably saved an interception. Now, that ball was thrown basically into coverage. And if Tunkara, without that fight, that's an intercepted football. Now, Danny McManus, I believe, wanted to go to the front side and find Craig Yeast. Craig Yeast couldn't find an opening. McManus had to hang on and was hit late by Jerome Haywood.
That'll set up a 31-yard field goal attempt for Jamie Borrell. Good on 61%. He has struggled in his rookie season. He's got this one. Something to cheer about at Ivor Wynn. The Ticats have the lead. Welcome back to Wendy's Friday Night Football from Ivor Wynn. John Wells and Glenn Suter up there. Claude Faig is down there.
Well, guys, the Tiger Cat turnaround this season has certainly been unexpected and unbelievable. Of course, a win away from clinching a playoff spot after managing just one win a year ago. And safety Rob Hitchcock says that it's something the team has actually been talking about all week in the locker room, and admitting that the record fan support here has certainly been key for the Tiger Cats, as he calls it, going from a university to a professional feel, and says tonight's game is a great opportunity for payback because, as he says, the fans deserve it. Guys?
All right, Claude, Curtis Jackson makes the catch there, and we'll see where they spot this, about a half a yard shy.
And, you know, when you talk about the crowds here, and the one thing about the crowds I've noticed is it's a different crowd now, and there's a lot of kids in the stands. And this is a city that you don't want to be caught singing along with the music at a stoplight. You know what I mean? And it was always known for its tough, its tough sort of atmosphere here at Ivor Wynn Stadium, and I think that's changing. Bob Young is now, with this attendance record that is set tonight, he's brought a lot of kids back to this stadium, a lot of families back to this stadium.
Well, and when you look at the average number of patrons per game, over 13,000 ahead of last year, it is a remarkable turnaround. Here are the Renegades. Back-to-back plays, and the first down is here for Ottawa. Nice play-action fake. Darnell Kennedy has time. Downfield, the defender fell, but Curtis Jackson couldn't maintain his feet either.
You know, and there's lots of reasons, I guess you could say, as to why this franchise has turned around in such a quick amount of time. But I think fundamentally speaking, the one biggest difference is that Bob Young, when he took over, never ever threatened the fans. I think that's what's happened when teams have gotten in trouble over the past in the Canadian Football League. Owners have come out and threatened fans. Not Bob Young. He said, if the turnstiles and attendance is dropping, it's my fault, and we'll fix it.
Well, if it was his fault, he did fix it. It's an amazing turnaround. 250,000 fans here on the season, and almost an interception. Vendras was the intended target.
Except for the fact that Jason Goss just went horizontal to knock that ball out of the air. I mean, this is the one that you're going to watch the end of this play and say, oh my gosh. Because Jason Goss makes a huge play to dive across and knock a sure catch out of the hands of Demetrius Vendras.
Renegades kick it away. Big heat. Jason Goss takes it on one hop and draws a flag on the punt from Pat Fleming that traveled 38 yards. Welcome back to Ivor Wynn and Hamilton. Final game, regular season for the Tiger Cats. A win away from clinching a spot in the playoffs. 1st and 10. Troy Davis. 2, maybe 3 yards for Davis on the far side. We're looking at Danny McManus as he approaches 50,000 yards career passing, and it's a very select group that McManus will join sometime before this season is over.
Really is amazing. 15 years in the league for Danny McManus. His first 3 was a backup in Winnipeg to Matt Dunnigan, ironically, who's just behind him in 4th, and Tom Burgess, and then split time with Ken Austin in BC after that.
On to Edmonton, now in his 7th year in Hamilton, and on the money there. McManus to DJ Flick, who's turned into his favorite target. Another story in the transformation of these Tiger Cats is the receivers that McManus has to work with this year, including Flick, Mike Morreale.
Well, and John, you know, DJ Flick is one of the guys that came over from the Ottawa Renegades, and you know, that was just a matter of Hamilton had the money at the time to pay him more, and in fairness to Ottawa, they had 2 big-name free agents, one in Kerry Joseph, one in Josh Ronick, to try and sign. And DJ Flick was 3rd on that priority list.
Yep. Flick turned it into a first down. Tiger Cats from the 40. Davis again. And he's got the 45-yard line, maybe the 46. Troy Davis closing in on records of his own for single season rushing and also for the most career yards for a running back in a Tiger Cat uniform.
You know, and DJ Flick, who was a big part of the media stories yesterday, and asking DJ Flick, said he was upset with the organization for not thinking that he was worth more than they offered him. But in fairness to Ottawa, they had some big ticket names to pay for last year.
2nd and 6. McManus has his target. Dondra Gilliam making the catch. Gilliam is brought down by Kyrie Bear.
And John, I would suggest that, you know, DJ Flick not the only guy that's come over to Hamilton from the Ottawa Renegades. Donovan Carter, another one. Carl Coulter, another one. But I would suggest that had DJ Flick become a free agent in any other year but the year that Kerry Joseph and Josh Ronick were also free agents, I mean, you've got to sign Josh Ronick. That's got to be priority one. You have got to have a quarterback. Kerry Joseph has got to be signed. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough money for DJ Flick. He ends up a Hamilton Tiger Cat.
Armstead drops deep for the Renegades. He has been fabulous. Number 88 for Ottawa. Borum stands just inside his 35 at the 34. Armstead won't have a play. Tiger Cats lead it 3-0. It's Wendy's Friday Night Football from Hamilton. Greg Marshall has made a huge difference in Hamilton this season. He knows just how important a win would be for the Tiger Cats tonight.
They mean a lot to this franchise and to the players that were here last year to erase that season. They've done a good job of putting the problems behind them. I think certainly the new ownership and what Bob Young's brought to this team, the crowds, and all of that excitement about Tiger Cat football has helped to erase that 1-17 season last year. But nothing would put an end to it like, you know, a playoff a spot and berth this year. And our guys are hungry.
And that's right there for the grasp for the Tiger Cats to win tonight. And they're in.
Well, and one other factor that you really can't underestimate is the fact that the players can focus on football now here in Hamilton. Greg Marshall has the opportunity to bring in players, to develop his practice rosters, to have depth in the lineup, and the guys don't have to worry about a paycheck.
Catch by Yo Murphy, previous play for 12 yards, first down Ottawa. Another strike for Kennedy. Curtis Jackson has made an impact on this Renegade team tonight.
Well, and you know, you look at Darnell Kennedy right now and the opportunity that is in front of him. I mean, Kerry Joseph has had just a very unlucky season. 2 times he's been knocked out due to injury. He's gone for the year. This is an opportunity. It's a challenge, yes, but rather than look at it as a challenge, the Renegades, I think, are looking at it as an opportunity, and Kennedy can make a name for himself over the next couple of weeks.
Not to mention the fact that he's a free agent after the season. On first down, Ronick is stuffed. Johnny Scott was waiting.
Well, and Darnell Kennedy is sort of in between. You mentioned he's a free agent, John, and that's a good point because he has a few games now to show every team in the league that he can be a starting quarterback. That's one thing. The other is Kerry Joseph is the quarterback in Ottawa and will be as long as they can keep him here. The other guy is Brad Banks. They think Banks is the future. So where does that put Darnell Kennedy? Kind of right in the middle between Joseph and Banks. A rock and a hard place. And Kennedy can, you know, show some people his skills over the next 3 weeks.
Ronick got 1 sack on the line. Miscommunication here. Kennedy got it back, but he's decked. Spencer got through for the sack. Marcus Spencer has been terrific in the last several games and won himself a first-team starting job last week as a result of special teams play.
John, the quarterback in a shotgun has to keep his eyes down the field. He can't really look down at the ball. He just has to expect that the shotgun snap will be perfect into his hands, and it's not. It's off to the right. Kennedy can't react in time, but he does scoop it off to save the turnover and get his punt team on the field.
Yeast is back. Pat Fleming puts it up. Greg Yeast on the run and about 3 yards on the return. Again, the Tiger Cats will start on the other side of the Hamilton 40. Huge time in Canadian football into the final 3 weeks. This is important tonight for obvious reasons. And how about Sunday? BC and Montreal, a battle of 2 first-place teams. We'll have that for you first. And the winner of that game will claim top spot in the respective division. Follow that with Edmonton and Calgary, a battle for second spot. And we'll be at Taylor Field for that one.
Hey.
So what a day Sunday on TSN.
Settle in. Just settle in for some football on Sunday because can't get 2 better matchups.
McManus on first down. What a shot. Morreale makes the catch. And that was a bullet.
Well, he had Reggie Gibbons and Gerald Vaughn were in perfect position. You're going to see Gibbons. That's right in Danny McManus' sight line at the middle linebacker spot. And watch the small area that he has to thread the needle. I mean, that misses the fingertips of Reggie Gibbons by about 3 inches.
12 yards for Morreale. And that will be the best year of receiving footballs in Mike Morreale's career. 68 catches on the air. Previous best was 67 back in 1998 when he was the top Canadian. So Morreale has found new life with the Tiger Cats on his return.
Well, and he may get a whole bunch more tonight as well because it seems to me that Danny McManus is in a bit of a groove early on here. He's throwing on time.
Personal best for Morreale. Tiger Cats are across midfield. McManus on second down. Fleck couldn't hold on.
Yeah, it looked like George McCullough just gave Flick a little flick. Just as he's coming across the middle, he gave him a little push back towards the line of scrimmage, and that distracted him. Look at the bump and run coverage, McCullough. He gets a little grab there, he gets away with that. Now here's the push, and that pushed him back towards the football. Flick couldn't react in time and went through his hands.
No interference there.
Not really. Let him play. He could have caught that. That was in his hands.
Jamie Borum bounces it down near the 20. Armstead stopped in his tracks. Here are the Renegades. First down deep in Ottawa territory. Kennedy puts it up on the money. And Bendras is ruled out.
Well, Josh Ronick to start this season was a big part of the offense, and for a couple of reasons has sort of disappeared over the last 5-6 weeks. There he is in the total this year. He started out, and from week 2 to 9, Ronick actually led the CFL. Now, talking to head coach Joe Paopao about it, he said, our team has had problems offensively converting on second down. That's both the passing game and the running game. And that has taken reps away from our offense and reps away from Josh Ronick.
Bendras has close to 5. Second down, Kennedy. A one-hopper. Bendras was the target again.
And that's a good example right there. There's a second down situation for Darnell Kennedy. And if he makes a 6-7 yard throw, moves the sticks, Ronick probably sees the ball at least 2 more times on this drive alone. But because they're 2 and out, the Ottawa Renegades can't convert on second down. Reps are taken away from the offense. He said in the early goings, we were averaging 25 plays or 25 first downs offensively. Now it's down to about 15 or less.
Here's Jason Goss waiting for it near the 50. And he gets a rough ride from a couple of Renegades, led by Kyrie Zebert. 0 on the return, 37 on the punt. And Danny Mack heads out again.
You talked about Danny McManus and the 50,000 yards that he's chasing, and you look at all of football, that is an elite group. Warren Moon leads the way. Now that's in 2 leagues, the National Football League, where he had just around 47,000 or just over that. Damon Allen, of course, in the CFL, broke Ron Lancaster's record. Dan Marino, John Elway right there, and then Danny McManus on the verge of joining that club. 6 quarterbacks on the planet thrown for 50,000.
And McManus is not very far away. First down, Tiger Cats. McManus keeps it on the ground, and not much that time for Troy Davis.
You know, and I think what makes it that much more special for Danny McManus is that it's happening this year in the turnaround year for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I mean, remember at the end of last season, I don't know that there was a fan in this area that felt that Danny McManus had another year in him.
No, it was the toughest of all tough seasons for an all-star quarterback who did not have anything close to an all-star season last year. Second down, and he'll have a first down here at the 45. DJ Flick, the catch, and that's vintage McManus, the quick release.
Quick release, timing on the throw, and he is throwing the ball on time. And usually it takes about 3 seconds, so you got 3 steamboats. Here's 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3. Bam, ball's right there. Danny McManus, watch this quick release you talked about, John. Steps in the pocket, makes his read, finds his receiver, and that ball is out of his hands. That's why the Hamilton Tiger Cats have given up the fewest sacks in the Canadian Football League.
14-yard gain, Ticats at the Renegades 45. Davis had a nice little fake to Yeast coming out the backside that took a couple of Renegades over in the other direction on the final play of the opening quarter. Not much scoring so far, but the Tiger Cats seem to be in control.
At the quarter, brought to you by Reebok, the only brand that hangs in every CFL locker.
You know, John and Glenn talking about how Hamilton had turned on the veteran quarterback Danny McManus. One of the great stories was he was riding in a cab with teammate Carl Coulter, and the taxi cab driver was complaining about the quarterback. If they just get rid of him, everything will be fine. And McManus was sitting in the back seat. Okay, it's little things right now for Ottawa. They haven't played a bad first quarter on the road, down a little bit, but it's the little things they got to fix.
Hey, Dave, the little things mean everything. I want you to watch the punter, Pat Fleming. He's going to kick the ball inaccurately. First of all, notice how as the offense moves, everyone is to the left-hand side of the hash mark. You have to kick the ball to the numbers or the sidelines. The ball ends up by the hash mark, which means all of a sudden Jason Goss, he's a well-educated man, he's going to go where there are fewer people, and he makes a nice little return on this play. And when that play ends up happening, right now they have a nice point for a starting point on a drive. Those little things mean absolutely everything. Accuracy and punting.
Funny thing, Chris, I'm going to show exactly the same thing, but with an offensive defense as opposed to special teams, and it's all about field coverage, and you can't allow yourself to be outmanned. And here you're going to see 3 linebackers over here, leaving the sole guy back here to deal with a tight end, a pulling guard, and a leading fullback. Go ahead and roll it, and we're going to see here how the point of attack, they're simply overwhelmed. Troy Davis doesn't even get touched for the first 9 yards, and then does the rest himself, David.
This is the first of 2 remaining head-to-heads between Ottawa and Hamilton, and Ottawa does not want their playoff hopes to die tonight, down by just 3 after 1.
Silver 1-5, this is Bobcat 3-6 from Weapons, enemy camp. Orders to impact as follows. Grid, Echo, Hotel, over. Overwatch. This is Old in position. Over.
Danny McManus and the Tiger Cats looking for a playoff spot. A win tonight over Ottawa means the Tiger Cats will be around for the postseason. Second down, about 1.5 yards to go. Julian Radlin got the call that time. And here are the numbers from the opening quarter.
Well, you can see the 36 yards rushing right here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That puts Troy Davis that much closer to becoming the Ticat all-time leading rusher, and 89 passing, 53 passing yards for Danny McManus. Chipping away at the 299 he needs for 50,000.
A little shy here.
One thing that Danny McManus hasn't hit tonight yet is the big play, and that's one thing that the Ticats have been pretty darn good at all season long, is that deep ball. Now they don't have Archie Amerson in the lineup.
But they do have Craig East.
Yep.
They do have DJ Flick. Both can go deep.
Absolutely.
Inches necessary for a Tiger Cat first down to keep this drive rolling early in the second quarter. And that will be plenty with no markers anywhere as Radlin goes over the top.
You talk about Troy Davis and the incredible season he's having and the milestones that he's about to reach in Ticat history. And when you look at Troy Davis, it is amazing when you consider this. Defensive ends are always taught to respect the quarterback as he continues on a fake if Troy Davis was going to run to the left of a formation. So now with this, because it's Danny McManus, defensive ends tonight for Ottawa do not have to worry about Danny McManus running. So Troy Davis's accomplishments this year are that much more magnified because of the fact that defensive ends do not have to respect Danny McManus on the bootleg and his running ability, or lack of it.
On the money, far side.
So, you know, for John Turntine and Kai Ellis tonight, they can come off that edge in a hurry, crash down on the backside on Troy Davis. So that's, you know, Troy Davis is one of the running backs in the CFL that has that problem. You know, most of the running backs, the quarterbacks have enough mobility to get outside, and that freezes that backside defensive end. Davis doesn't have that luxury. He has to fight them all up there.
Gain is 4, 2nd and 6. McManus looks to put it up, and no catch, no interception. Most of the quarterbacks in the CFL are not closing in on 50,000 yards passing, however.
And that's a very good point. And, you know, you were to start a franchise, you know, you want a Danny McManus, because out of every position, you know, and we've had fun, and Danny's had fun himself with his lack of running ability, but out of any position you want consistency, and Danny McManus has been that at the quarterback position. Last 10 years, he's averaged over 4,000 yards passing.
And he's heard that egg timer joke many times, hasn't he?
Yeah, when it comes to his running. Yeah.
Jamie Borum struggled from in close over the last couple of weeks, but he's been able to hit from long range. Has one tonight, and this one is shanked wide. So he's 1 for 2 again. Armstead takes the point.
This winter, don't let the weather get the best of you. Fight back with a new Michelin X-Ice tire. Available now at Canadian Tire.
Well, you've been talking about all the new Tiger Cat fans who've arrived this season. We found a cutie.
See if I can get one of those candy apples.
Renegades first down. Kennedy, play action fake. Looks deep, nice pass. Armstead the target. He didn't see it come down, I don't think, Glenn. He didn't seem to look up.
Well, he either didn't see it come down or he had his eyes focused on Wayne Shaw, who was coming across in a big way. They tried to layer Yo Murphy and Armstead to the outside. Yo Murphy's going to end up coming right down that seam. You see Shaw, number 1, in the middle of your screen. He's the safety, and watch how much ground he covers to get to Armstead. Now, as this ball goes in the air, Armstead looks at Shaw coming across, takes his eyes off the football, and it hits the turf. Sometimes the safety doesn't have to make the big hit. He just has to be around the ball.
Make sure they know you're coming. 2nd and 10, Ottawa. This should work. Bendros will have a first down. Lost the ball. Tiger Cats have it.
Oh, boy.
Nice play by the Renegades, but the Tiger Cats snuffed that out on the recovery by Chris Martin.
Yeah, this is a type of play that drives coaches nuts because, you know, you do have a great play going, and you can never fault a guy like Bendros for trying to pick up extra yards and putting the second effort into a play like this. But then you want to say secure the football. And the Ticats on defense, throwing that hat around a little bit, pop the ball out of there and have a turnover.
Couple of fumbles by the Renegades last week. Tunkara put one on the ground. Dondra Graham put one on the ground. And that was, in some ways, enough for the Rough Riders to come back and win. Or at least help out with the victory. Whoa! Nice tackle on Troy Davis.
So on the backside, Raymond House tackles Davis, and he is closing in. He got a couple there, so now 17 yards away from becoming the Ticats all-time leader. Passing situation, so Danny McManus will likely have to convert this first down before he sees the football again.
And the rushing record in Tiger Cats history goes back a long way. Jerry McDougal, a long time ago, back in the 60s. Yeast makes the catch at the 35. Craig Yeast.
You know, I just get a sneaky suspicion watching Danny McManus all these years that he's in that zone. Like he takes a couple steps back, the ball is bang on the money. That hits that 5 right in the middle of it, and he throws on time. He's been doing it all game so far. The numbers may not reflect it, but he's in that groove.
Gilliam to the far side after a 14-yard gain for the Cats. McManus, one hopper, one bounced it, looking for Mike Morielli, who made his 68th catch of the season earlier tonight for a personal best.
The Ticats have a few games to lock off that playoff spot, but you can tell that they have a sense of urgency and want to do it tonight. And Greg Marshall talked about that yesterday, saying, you know, those opportunities can slip away in a hurry.
Well, they can when you look at the opposition ahead for Hamilton. Toronto next, followed by a rematch with Ottawa. McManus gets the connection, Yeast the catch, but it's well short of a first down near the 30.
You know, that's good sudden change defense. And you know, when I say that, I mean sudden change meaning when there's a turnover, we used to call it sudden change. You have to come out and respond, you know, and hold the team, because you give up a touchdown in the sudden change. And how about this? Hamilton Tiger Cats are going to gamble on 3rd and 5, and it's a long 5, almost 6.
At the Renegades 30-yard line.
Interesting.
McManus throws confidently. Morielli the target, almost had it sliding into the end zone. McCullough was covering on Mike Morielli. It looked like they felt they had a play that would work. But maybe when the kicking game isn't going as well as you hope,
yeah,
you look at a hot quarterback and a couple of hot receivers.
Well, you know what, John, that's a good point, because, you know, Greg Marshall has quickly earned a reputation of playing aggressively in 3rd down situations this season, but that was a long 5 early on in the game. You've got to believe that his kicking situation influenced that decision.
Look back to the bootleg by Marcus Brady 2 weeks ago that led the Tiger Cats to a victory. Hamilton coming into this game on wins over Edmonton and Winnipeg last week.
Procedure, Ottawa 55, still first down.
So only 4 points on the board so far.
Well, I was going to say, because if not for the kicking situation, that's a huge gamble for Greg Marshall, because it can turn into such a momentum swing for the Ottawa Renegades. Now, that procedure may take a little of that momentum away, but it can in a hurry on the defensive stop.
Yes, because the Renegades look at 1st and 15 here. Back at the 25, Kennedy swings it out. Bendros, the catch. Oh! That's Marcus Spencer again.
What quickness. Marcus Spencer, the converted defensive back, playing in the linebacking core. What tremendous speed to get to the outside and run down Demetrius Bendros.
Great that the blackout is lifted here for this one tonight, so Tiger Cat fans all over Southern Ontario can look in. A loss of another yard there, so this is 2nd and 16. Charges on. Kennedy forced to throw before he was ready. Ben Ross, the intended receiver, and they'll kick it away.
Well, now you look at the defense played by the Hamilton Tiger Cats there. Any chance for a momentum swing for Ottawa is taken away. So Kavis Reed has his defense fired up. He's up in the spotter's booth right over here. That's Kavis Reed, the defensive coordinator, who's received some high praise from his head coach this season, the job he has done turning this defense around.
Pat Fleming puts it up, down near the 40, and nowhere to go for Jason Goss. A 45-yard punt that time.
This quarter is brought to you by the Pontiac Way. Pontiac, built for drivers.
Welcome back. Here's a sneak preview of Miss Ticat 2016. Tomorrow, NASCAR on TSN, the UAW GM Quality 500. What do you think?
That's a front runner, no question. Cutie. Some young fans in the stands. It's nice to see.
It's terrific to see the enthusiasm, no doubt about it. Here's Troy Davis, hard yards against the left side of this Renegade defense. And Davis closing in on a milestone of his own, needing 54 yards as the evening began to better Jerry McDougall's record for most career yards.
Yeah, and if he wants to think,
runner.
if he wants to think beyond that, Johnny, he was 240 away from a single season mark in Ticat history as well, set by Jimmy Edwards. So, you know, thinking bigger picture, a couple milestones that Troy Davis can hit.
Yeah, the second one may not come tonight. No. Almost picked up. In fact, it is. Right at midfield, the marker is down. Dave Donaldson got the interception.
Well, the flag was behind Dave Donaldson as he came across with Gilliam and really fought him for the football the entire way. And I didn't really see any interference from Donaldson when I watched it live.
Forward pass interference. Ottawa 37. First down.
Well, we'll have to take another look because, you know, I caught the end of the play live from up here. It looked like they were just battling for the football as Gilliam was trying to come back and Donaldson had both hands on it. If he had both hands on it, he couldn't have been holding the jersey.
So no interception. This Tiger Cat drive continues at midfield. McManus, Troy Davis. Davis escaped for 2 hard yards, or he would have been stopped behind the line. Well, let's go closer look at the previous play, though.
Yeah, let's just go back to that play because you're going to catch the end of it. You got to look at the ball coming right at you. Now, they both fight back for the ball, and you can see as Donaldson went up, if anything, there was maybe a bit of a grab to the back of the shirt just before he went to make that move. But really, that's a questionable call at best. I thought Dave Donaldson got a nice jump, and that interception should have been his.
2nd and 9, Tiger Cats. McManus stands in. Waiting for it. East. Touchdown, Hamilton. And what a turn of events for the Renegades. From the interception to a touchdown. 54-yard pass from McManus to Craig East.
What a turnaround in this game. Dave Donaldson has an interception, is called on a pass interference. And in the very next play, Craig East is wide open in a busted coverage.
54-yard touchdown for Craig East. His 5th on the season. The Tiger Cats take control with 5:43 to go to halftime. This was a beauty. Over 250,000 fans have watched the Tiger Cats tonight win this stadium this season, setting a new record. Looking ahead, Ticats next action against the Argonauts. Thursday, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. It's Wendy's CFL Live, Hamilton at Toronto.
And you can bet with the excitement of this football team that there will be a few fans traveling down the highway to go to Toronto and watch that one. Watch Craig Yeast score some touchdowns like he just did.
Jason Armstead needs a big return for the Renegades. He won't get it here.
Well, busted coverage, and Craig Yeast takes advantage of it. He had to wait on the football, but you're going to get a look at it, how the middle of the field is open. Zone defense, basically, for the Ottawa Renegades. Now, Dave Donaldson will probably be written up as being beat, but he's not. Kyrie Zubair, the safety's going to hustle. He's not back here where he should be. Dave Donaldson will come from the left of your screen. He's going to try and help out in the tackle. Not his responsibility. You can tell by how hard Kyrie Zubair hustled to get back that it was his fault that Craig Yeast was wide open.
Jason Armstead and two other Renegade receivers to the near side as Ronick takes it up the gut to the 40.
But John, what a turn of events for both football teams. The Ottawa Renegades battling pretty well, have an interception taken away, and then Danny McManus buys some time to shuffle to his left and then just puts it right in the lap of a wide open Craig Yeast. I mean, that's a big point shift and momentum change in this football game.
And Donaldson not over it quite yet, I wouldn't imagine. Another miscue. Kennedy had it bounce back into his hands and turns this into positive yardage. Darnell Kennedy will get the first down.
John, all kinds of problems. This could have been disaster for the Hamilton defense. And Rob Hitchcock may have saved the day. You know, he's down in that linebacking core now because of the play of Wayne Shaw and not getting as many reps, but not complaining, not once, contributing. He got everybody lined up to save what could have been a big Ottawa gain there because there was all kinds of confusion on the defensive side of the ball.
Darnell Kennedy on the broken play had enough to get the first down. Picking up 7 yards now. He's shaken up. All of the Ottawa quarterbacks have faced the injury bug so far this season.
I mean, there was confusion on that play as they look at Kennedy. And Kennedy has problems with the snap. Picks it up. Now, if he catches that snap clean and Hitchcock can't get the defense lined up, then that could be a big play for the Ottawa Renegades. You talk about the injuries, though, John, you're absolutely right. And we talked about it in the pregame show, and Joe Palpao will not use it as an excuse. But this football team has gone through more injuries than I think any team I've seen in recent memory.
Gary Joseph is out for the rest of the season, out for the second time this year.
Yeah, and I think as a coach or any one of these players, you can never use injuries as an excuse unless, I believe, they come at the quarterback position. And Joe Palpao has lost all three. In the West Division this year, most of the teams, Edmonton Eskimos got off to a slow start. BC Lions got off to a slow start until Casey Printers caught fire. I mean, why did they? Saskatchewan, a bumpy start. Their quarterbacks were hurt. Jason Moss was getting some rust off. Dave Dinkinson went down. Elon Green went down. You lose your quarterback, you got problems.
And in Winnipeg before the trade, Kahari Jones wasn't right most of the season.
Ottawa Renegades have gone through all three. All three have been hurt all year.
And a couple of those quarterbacks injured in Ottawa have had broken bones and been out for sustained periods of time. So it's Brad Banks who might get the call here moments from now. In the meantime, we'll take a timeout. It's Wendy's Friday Night Football. Joe Palpao and the Renegades trying to get over another injured quarterback as it stands right now. One final home game in Ottawa for the Renegades in 2004. And it comes against the Hamilton Tiger Cats on the final Saturday of the season. Kennedy got the first down. Banks is in. Ronick has it on first down. And Ronick turns the corner with a nice burst of speed.
Well, John, if Ronick's production has dropped off over the last few games, the Ottawa Renegades need to lean on him now. I mean, Brad Banks will likely have a very bright future in the CFL. He's got good feet, a strong arm. He's played well at times, completed upwards of 60% of his passes in his limited action. But he's a long way away from understanding the game completely. And now the Renegades in this one have to lean on Josh Ronick.
There's the ticket information for the final game, regular season. Final game before the Grey Cup at Frank Clair Stadium in Ottawa. And up for the first down for Ronick. He picked up 11. Banks will get another first down here inside the 40-yard line. Curtis Jackson hangs on.
And that's a nice indication of what Brad Banks is capable of. You know, he just turns, pivots, and fires a strike.
This was smooth.
Yeah, in there to Curtis Jackson.
Ticats have the lead. Ivor Wynn and Hamilton, final game, regular season 2004. Halftime is just ahead. Randor, Schultz, and Clanny are ready for that. And the Renegades likely not ready for this, Claude.
Well, guys, the bad news continues for the Renegades quarterback situation. Darnell Kennedy's been checked out by team physicians, and the word I got from one of them was that he is not coming back. He has injured his non-throwing hand. It looked like it might be the middle knuckle. Kennedy clearly in a lot of pain. I can say he was almost brought to tears. It's so bad, and the word is in, though. He will not be back tonight, guys.
Well, I think he has been brought to tears, and probably more than the injury is the fact that an opportunity will slip by Darnell Kennedy.
Another injured Renegades quarterback.
Yeah, and you know that Kennedy was looking at this game and the rest of the season as a great opportunity for him to put himself on the map and, you know, maybe demand a nice contract in the offseason, and if not Ottawa, somewhere else, and that may have slipped away with this injury.
So it's Brad Banks at the control on 2nd and 16 after Armstead was wrapped up, and this is intercepted. Chris Martin dancing around at the 40-yard line. And there's a rookie quarterback putting it up. And Martin hasn't exactly been around a long time either, but he has the interception.
Well, no, but it is the inexperience of Brad Banks. I mean, you know, unless you get enough playing time, you just don't understand how quickly at this level a defensive back can close. I mean, the receiver looks open to Banks until Chris Martin turns on the jets and slides underneath him.
Penalty flag down after the tackle.
Major foul, necessary roughness. Hamilton 29 after the change of possession. First down.
That's on Chris Martin. But we looked at the three newest members of that Tiger Cat secondary, Chris Martin, Jason Goss, and Airban Justin. 12 CFL games between them coming into this one tonight. And Chris Martin has his first interception.
Hey, wait!
McManus puts it up. Yeast went high, couldn't bring it down. You talked to McCullough covering.
You talk about that young secondary, John, and Greg Marshall's had this dilemma with Wayne Shaw and Rob Hitchcock and whether or not to put Hitchcock back at safety. And then you've got Shaw playing beside Martin, who just had the interception you're looking at now. And then Jason Goss has played well. And I've given him the nickname Air Justin because he's playing great on that corner. And they just don't want to disrupt the secondary. When it's not broken, don't fix it.
Absolutely right. Ticats have the lead. McManus has the ball. Their side almost picked off. In fact, a one-handed catch and a beauty by Morielli, but he was about 3 yards out.
He'd go down in the books as one of the best catches of the season that won't count. Because I don't know how he turned around. You see Morielli, he's inside. He's going to end up the wheel man down here as DJ Flick comes across the middle. Here comes Morielli to the outside. Now his idea is to get on that sideline. Watch how he turns his body around, catches the football, but that right foot had touched the white stripe, and a good call by the officials that were right on the spot.
Jamie Borum is in, standing at the 10. Less than 2 minutes to go till halftime. High, not deep.
Borum's hustling, though.
Armstead will draw penalties. A couple of flags fly on his return of 2 yards after a 31-yard punt. Penalty against the Renegades. And the first down will be at the 50-yard line. That was on the return by Armstead. Brad Banks at the control. He's out of Iowa. Runner-up in the Heisman voting back in those days. Bright future, they say. Little experience, though, so far. Bendros the catch. Nice move by Bendros, and then caught from behind. Shoestring tackle by Barachia.
Brad Banks seen some playing action in the BC game this year, also in the Calgary game. But I was most impressed with Brad Banks when I watched him play against Calgary was his foot speed. He's quicker than most people give him credit. Of course, not a lot of people have seen a whole bunch of Brad Banks other than preseason.
Previous play, game 7. This is 2nd and 3, Renegades. Trailing 11-0. Action, and no one was fooled. Well, on that Tiger Cat defense, leading the charge was Hitchcock.
Yeah, and this is the advantage of Rob Hitchcock in the linebacking corps. A former safety, and I want to show you what Hitchcock does. Watch what he does here. Now, here's the dilemma. Do I hit the quarterback? Do I take Josh Ronick on the pitch? Well, if you're Rob Hitchcock with this quickness, you can do both. Take the quarterback and then go to the pitch.
High kick. Gus at the 9. 1 flag, 2 flags, 3 flags. Gus still standing, but he likely won't get credit for the return. It gets the Tiger Cats out near the 20.
Well, you got to believe that one of those flags at least will be against Hamilton, and it'll go back in this return. Troy Davis continues to chip away. And 15 yards to become the Cat all-time leader in rushing.
Jerry McDougal back with those great Tiger Cat teams.
Illegal block
in the 60s.
Hamilton 53.
Now
there's the distance. First down.
Two schools of thought when your offense is down here. One is that you may see Troy Davis with the football down here because you want to try and run it out of the shadow of your own goalpost. But the other, and one that I think Danny McManus likes, is to go ahead and try and throw it deep. See if in one play you can't pick up big yards. We'll see what Hamilton decides to do.
55 seconds till halftime. Davis, nice run, and inching a little closer to that Tiger Cats all-time record. 9 yards for Troy Davis there.
Well, just talk about consistency for Troy Davis, and to have that balance. Both coaches talking about what Troy Davis brings to the table, and how very seldom does the first tackler bring Troy Davis down.
So 6 yards away from the record unofficially for Troy Davis. Not a big guy as running backs go, 5'8". But certainly stocky at 183 out of Iowa State.
Well, you look at the great runners in the CFL, and Charles Roberts has the tremendous quickness, can go from 0 to 60 in a blink of an eye, which is probably why they call him Blink. Or is it Wink or Blink? Or
I think Blink,
I don't know, whichever. And then you've got, Kenton Keith in Saskatchewan, who's a great slashing running back who can hit those holes and make people miss and change direction. Then you got Troy Davis. And Troy Davis is more of a combination of Charles Roberts and maybe a Mike Pringle. He comes with a whole bunch of aggressiveness. He attacks the line of scrimmage. He'll fight through tackles, but he has quick feet.
9 yards gained by Davis last time. There you go. This could be it. This should be the all-time record for Tiger Cat runners. It is Troy Davis with no penalty flags down anywhere as he breaks a long-standing record set by Jerry McDougal of the Tiger Cats in bygone years.
One more look at Troy Davis breaking the Tiger Cat record.
McManus, hurry-up offense, looks deep, looking for Gilliam. Penalty flags are all over the coverage.
Well, there was a lot more contact this time between Dave Donaldson and Gilliam than there was when Donaldson was called on the first interference.
Interference, Ottawa 37. First down.
We'll go back more on Troy Davis in a minute. Let's take one more look at this play. Just over here to your right, take a look at the contact being made, and you see how Dave Donaldson got his hand up in the face mask of Gilliam.
16 seconds till halftime. McManus looks for more and overthrew his target a little high for DJ Flick that time.
Troy Davis signed with the Hamilton Tiger Cats in 2001, played 12 games that year, and only touched the ball 96 times, but almost was halfway to 1,000. Then he went 1143 in 2002, 1206 last year, and he's on pace for close to 1,500 this year and is now the Ticat all-time leader.
Coming into the game, he led the league with 1,342 yards. He's added to that, and he is the Tiger Cats' all-time leading rusher as a result of his last 2 carries. Weiser tipped that one, I think.
You think back to last year in the 1-17 season, and boy, what would the Ticats have been without Troy Davis? I mean, he was really their only bright light, and the only reason that, you know, any fans wanted to come to games when you really think about it. I mean, all the offense the Ticats could muster in 2003 came from Troy Davis. And you know that even though he's having a great year, he loves to see the offense throwing the ball well as also.
McManus looking deep. Gilliam was the closest Tiger Cat receiver. You know, 1 second remains till halftime.
It's quite a battle going out there in that wide side between Gilliam and Dave Donaldson. And Donaldson turned around, thought he might get a call for offensive pass interference. Gilliam gave him a little push in the back. Donaldson playing on that wide side corner all season, missed a couple games due to injury, as has most of the Ottawa Renegades this year. But that's quite a battle going on so far in this one tonight on that outside.
So what do you do with 1 second remaining?
I think you throw it deep and see if you can't get an interference call or maybe a lucky tip or something. You got nothing to lose if you're the Ottawa Renegades.
Down by 11. Renegades have 1 second to go. Scrimmaging from the 50-yard line. Brad Banks does exactly that, looking deep, and this will be a jump ball.
Oh, you see?
Wayne Shaw had a chance at it, but it was there for the grasping, was it not?
It was close. Armstead was in behind, but Shaw knocked it down.
Yo, that was close.
Real close.
And it's only 11-0.
I know.
I mean, it's not like this game's at a hand. Hey, congratulations to Troy Davis. Another great season for the Hamilton Tiger Cats running back, 3rd straight season with well over 1,000 yards. And it is a close game, but certainly this game has taken a turn for the worse for the Ottawa Renegades. Yet another injury, and they've been saying all night long that they don't want to use that as an excuse, Chris. But at some point, it becomes legit.
You know, it really does, and I think I'm one of the few people that really think that when you have multiple injuries on a football team, it is devastating because all you have to do is look at the coordination with people. If you're a left tackle and you're playing with 2 or 3 different left guards right beside you, you don't pick up the switches and the stunts quite as well. If you are a quarterback and you're working with various receivers, there's absolutely no way you can get the timing down. If you're a running back and different members of that offensive line are constantly changing, when you hit that line of scrimmage, everyone sustains or releases a block at a different moment. Hate to say it, making excuses for injuries is a sign of weakness in the macho world of football, but it's a reality. It devastates teams, and this year, it's devastated Ottawa.
Yeah, and Schultz, I've always felt that injuries can be used as an excuse, but it depends on what position we're talking about. And you know, it's the one-on-one positions. It's the positions where you can be picked on that does you the most harm. So a defensive back, for example, if you've got to be throwing in rookies every week, those are guys you can pick on. Now a receiver, if you lose a receiver, you can find somebody else, and if you don't like him, you just don't throw him the ball. It's not a big deal. It's like if we lose our host, Schultz, we just host, right?
The show falls apart.
The show just continues. It's amazing that way. There's some injuries you can live with.
Okay, well, I can do a little hosting detail here. 11 for 22, 131 yards for Danny McManus, meaning he only needs 168 to reach 50,000. Here is the Rona poll question that we asked you in the pregame show. Which team do you think has improved the most off the field? We asked it BC or Hamilton or Toronto. You logged on and said it was pretty close right across the board, but the Ticats take the cake. You're watching Wendy's Friday Night Football.
At the Half, brought to you by Wendy's, the official hamburger of the CFL. Wendy's, it's better here.
Hey, be sure you're with us on Sunday. We've got a gigantic doubleheader for the CFL on TSN. BC at Montreal. Both teams struggling a little bit, but they're still first place in the East and the West. And then Edmonton at Saskatchewan in a jam-packed Taylor Field. Both very important game with heavy playoff implications. And then tomorrow night on the CFL on CBC, you've got Toronto and Calgary. So Kahari Jones is going to make his first start as a Stampeder, and Damon Allen will not start for the Argos. It's going to be Bishop again. However, you get the idea that Allen's going to get into a game pretty soon.
Well, I think the number one thing is Damon Allen has to get some significant playing time because he needs to get his timing back. He needs to take some shots. He needs to get back in the rhythm of the game. For Calgary, Kahari Jones, is he the guy? We've said many, many times that the Stampeders are one player away in offense from being very competitive. We'll find out in these last 3 games, guys.
This is very much a quarterback-type game. We'll just see how Kahari Jones does in that red and white. And for Toronto, I think Damon Allen needs to get some snaps, but they have the luxury of starting Bishop because I think he's actually improved his game. And I've certainly been critical of Michael Bishop at times, but he's one of these guys that seems to be developing, and hopefully for Toronto, he can become a legitimate backup for them.
Remember, he came in right after Damon Allen was hurt, and he looked so good, and everybody thought, well, maybe this might be good. And then he had his down moments, but overall, for the amount that Damon Allen's been out, Bishop's done a pretty decent job keeping that offense afloat. Their defense has been great as well, though. That's really been a big story. Craig Yeast with a lone touchdown in this football game so far, 11-0 Hamilton.
This day in the CFL, brought to you by Sport Check, proud supporter of the CFL.
October 15th, 1993, Matt Dunnigan and the Bombers hosting the Sacramento Gold Miners. First quarter, Dunnigan throws it up for his favorite receiver, David Williams, and Winnipeg leads 10-0. Second quarter, the Gold Miners need a score. Joe Johnson takes the punt at his own 47. Johnson finds a seam, and he could be gone. 63 yards for the major. Gold Miners trailed 17-10. But Dunnigan and Williams are too much in this game. Williams gets 3 touchdown catches on the day. Dunnigan and company win a thriller 33-26. Sunday night, the NFL on TSN, Dante Culpepper and the Minnesota Vikings. Culpepper, 14-1. Touchdowns to interception ratio. I learned that watching Chris Schultz on SportsCenter. Impressive.
I just told you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I watched too. I watch. The New York Giants have a bye this week, and that means one of their backup quarterbacks, Jesse Palmer, was in Toronto to visit Chris Schultz at a sports radio station in Toronto, and Schultz had this opportunity to talk to the Nepean native.
I certainly take pride in being Canadian, and I certainly really look back to my roots growing up playing football in Canada, and really, where my passion for football started. And I think it's great to come back and really have a chance to give back any chance I have the opportunity to, because it's a beautiful place, and I'm just very lucky, I think, and fortunate to grow up playing here.
Schultz, you really like your visit with him today.
Hey, he is an awesome young man. Sets the precedent for Canadian quarterback possibilities.
And I might like to have him. Go ahead and introduce us to David.
Well, yeah, thank you. Halftime numbers brought to you by Molson Canadian. Just like Jesse Palmer, I am Canadian. Jock, now go ahead, please.
He is Canadian. The Ottawa Renegades would love to have him right about now, but it's up to Brad Banks because this game is very much in hand. They got about half the offensive output, but it's not over yet.
Claude Fagg spoke with Hamilton Ticats head coach Greg Marshall.
With Tiger Cats head coach Greg Marshall, Greg, one turnaround play in that second quarter. The pick turns into a passing interference play, and then Danny Mack throws to Yeast in the end zone for the touchdown.
We needed that play. Yeah. I mean, give Ottawa credit. They've been doing a great job on defense, all night. Our defense is playing outstanding, and a play like that really can sometimes break it open. We need to make more of those in the second half.
And not that play withstanding, it's been a tight game. Do you think your guys are pressing a little bit more knowing what's at stake tonight?
Well, I don't know. We do seem a little bit tight offensively and trying to force things, but hopefully our defense is playing outstanding, and they really are, running around and making plays. But like I said, give Ottawa credit. They're making plays too, and they're a good football team that wants to win also. And you know what? Two good football teams going at it here tonight.
All right, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, real tight, Chelsea, when they're going for it on 3rd and 5.
Yeah.
But they didn't succeed there. They only have 11 points on the board. Second half is next.
It's the Tiger Cats by 11 at halftime. Renegades, more bad luck. Hard to believe this kind of a season.
Well, this is, again, facing adversity. The Ottawa Renegades now, John, have to pull out all the stops. I mean, they cannot lose this football game or their playoff hopes disappear. So look for all kinds of possible trick plays, fake field goals, fakes in the kicking game.
And Joe has a few of those up his sleeve. Let's get down to the sideline. Here's Claude.
With Renegades head coach Joe Paopao. Joe, one play withstanding in that first half. You guys are still in the game.
Well, it's a close game, and, there's a lot of implications for both teams, and we'll want to play away from getting back into the game. We're going with our backup guy, Brad, and we lost our quarterback with a broken wrist, so it's one of those ones where he's going to be fine, and, we just got to hang in there and start making a couple points.
And, of course, unfortunately, that's the way it's gone for you guys all year. If it's not one guy, somebody else getting hurt, and yet you guys are still fighting for a playoff spot.
Well, that's a testament to the character of the guys. They're hanging in there, and they believe we're going to make some plays, and it's a great opportunity for Brad Banks, and I look forward to his play. I think he's going to play fine.
All right, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
And if it wasn't for bad luck, the Renegades would have no luck at all. Again, it's on the line. The Ticats win this one, and Hamilton will be around for the playoffs a couple of weeks from now, for sure. Jason Armstead returning for Ottawa. This guy flies. 115-yard return against the Riders last week, and a 24-yard return there.
Connie Kwai is the offensive coordinator and is in charge of the running game. And we mentioned in that first half, they may have to lean on Josh Ronick a little bit more tonight now that they're down to essentially their third-string quarterback in Brad Banks, with Kerry Joseph not dressed tonight, and of course Darnell Kennedy out with a broken wrist.
Brad Banks out of Ottawa has all the moves. He's a smooth performer, but he is very inexperienced in the CFL and professional football. Connection there. Armstead makes the catch. He's well short of a first down.
6 touches for Josh Ronick, nowhere near enough in the first half. The other side of the coin is that Connie Kwai understands that the Hamilton Tiger Cat defense ranks 3rd in the league against the run. So that's part of the game planning coming in for the Renegades. They know that if they want to get Josh Ronick to football, it's going to be tough running against Joe Mumford, Johnny Scott, Tim Cheatwood, and the boys in that front 7.
Best rush in the league provided by this Hamilton group. Lots of quickness up there, in spite of the fact that Adriano Belli is out of the lineup for this one tonight. Scott, Mumford, and Tim Cheatwood lead the way to the quarterback. A great deal in the CFL. Gain is 6 yards on the play to Armstead. 2nd and 4, Renegades. At the Ottawa 45. Banks has time, looks long, nice pass. Catch is made, but out of bounds. Curtis Jackson held on, but couldn't keep his feet in.
Another great catch on the sideline that won't count. One had Mike Morreale had one in the first half, and this time it's Curtis Jackson's turn. Watch how he turns around. Now you need 1 foot inbounds. That right foot the first to touch, clearly on the white stripe on the outside. In fact, in the middle of it. Both officials right on the spot.
Jason Goss comes up to take a short punt. Lost it. Renegades have it. It goes right back to the Renegades, and this might be the opportunity that Ottawa has been looking for.
Big play by a guy who's improved game in and game out on those special teams, and one that's been a name that's been in the headlines a few times this year for the Renegades. A lot of fans would like to see Mike Vilmic, a first-round draft pick for the Renegades, get the ball out of the running back position a little more often, but he's been relegated to the teams in his career in the Ottawa Renegades. He's 2nd in the team in special teams tackles and comes up with a big play in the game that they are desperate for a win.
This is the opportunity the Renegades have been looking for, down by 11 early in the second half. 1st and 10 Ottawa inside the 35. Ronick, the catch. There's the move. He's to the 30 and halfway to a first down.
Boy, you know, you just, when you're a desperate team, you look for all kinds of breaks, and you don't know where that break may come. And the Renegades need to take advantage of Mike Vilmic's hustle to get down there and get on top of that football. You know, you don't know where that big play is going to come from. Every play is important. You got one out of Mike Vilmic. Now can the offense go in there and punch it in?
Positive yardage for Ronick on first down. This is 2nd and 5. Banks with time. We'll get a first down here on the connection with Curtis Jackson.
Josh Ronick lines up to the left side of this formation to help out on Curtis Jackson. Watch how Ronick lines up here. Then he'll sneak out and try and set the pickup here for Jackson to come underneath number 81. So here comes Ronick. Now he's trying to find a way to give Jackson another little seam. Now Justin makes the tackle from behind, or that play goes for a bunch more.
An 11-yard gain for Curtis Jackson. 4th catch. He has over 50 yards tonight. Brad Banks at the controls. Fakes it to Ronick, takes off himself, throwing to the end zone. Catch is made, touchdown. Bendros has it. There's a penalty marker down back at the 20. Bendros has the catch in the end zone. We'll check the infraction.
My only question is, was Brad Banks behind the line of scrimmage?
Offside. Hamilton 53. Penalties decline.
Touchdown stands.
Apparently he was. Because he was getting awful close to that line of scrimmage. A nice fake to Josh Ronick to start things out. Watch the fake to Ronick right up the middle. That freezes a couple of Ticats right out of the get-go. Now here comes the fake right there. Now he gets to the outside. A tough throw to make for Brad Banks, running full speed to his left, and Bendros kept that left foot inbound.
Huge play on the turnover by Mike Vilmic to set up the Renegades in that first touchdown. Ottawa right back in this game, trailing by 4. Banks to Bendros for 6.
This winter, don't let the weather get the best of you. Fight back with a new Michelin X-Ice tire. Available now at Canadian Tire.
Vilmic and Bendros, the keys for the Renegades' resurgence and the comeback to within 4 points. Vilmic recovering the fumble, Bendros making the touchdown catch. And hang on, Tiger Cat fans, the playoff spot may not be quite this easy. Gilliam returning, and this is a nice one. Gilliam out across the 33-yard line and stop there. 65-yard kickoff, 23 on the return.
Well, John, you know, they are a desperate football team, and special teams make up 1/3. This is the great offensive play to capitalize on the momentum created on the special teams by Mike Villick, as that ball is caught right on that goal line and just inside the boundary by Bendros. A tough throw to make for Brad Banks.
He makes a perfect play on it. Renegades' third-string quarterback has the touchdown to get Ottawa back. Troy Davis, John, for a couple is all he can manage there.
Bendros capitalizes on the big play and see if the defense now can continue to build on the momentum created by Mike Villick, because that turnover on the special teams is really how you start that momentum. And I know a thing or two about Mike Villick. He grew up in my stomping grounds, went to Simon Fraser University. And folks, mark my words when I tell you, remember the name Mike Villick.
McManus on second down. No catch. Looking for Craig Yeast out around the 50, and the coverage was too tight on Yeast. That time he couldn't hang on.
Well, now the defense responds to it. So momentum clearly has switched to the Ottawa Renegades after the Bendros touchdown.
Was he a Carson Graham kid too?
No, actually.
No?
No.
That other school in North Vancouver?
Different North Van High School, Windsor. And then to Simon Fraser, and Armstead now has a chance to see if he can make a play on the teams. Should have very good field position.
Jamie Borum. And Armstead was shaken up, but he's back. Won't get a chance to make a play on this, or maybe he will. It rolled back in, and Armstead has chased a long way back. John, too bad that didn't roll out for the Renegades. Armstead thought it might.
Doesn't matter. It's coming all the way back, and the Ticats will get the football. Kai Ellis roughed the kicker.
Behind the play there, it'll be Hamilton first and 10.
This quarter is brought to you by Esquire. This is your time.
Iverwin and Hamilton as the Tiger Cat fans hope to celebrate a playoff berth before it's over tonight. We'll look forward to The Sopranos, a new episode on CTV coming your way on Sunday. Tiger Cats maintain possession of the football on a contacting the kicker call against Kai Ellis. So here's the first down, and there goes Troy Davis again.
Well, there's no way you can sugarcoat this if you're an Ottawa Renegades fan. Kai Ellis just had a brain cramp. Now, he was fighting as he attacked the line, but it looked to me like he could have avoided contact on Jamie Borum. He doesn't, and gives the Hamilton Tiger Cats a first down and some of that momentum back that Ottawa had gained.
A gain of 4, 2nd and 6. McManus puts it up. They'll get a first down out at the 45. Don Gilliam has another catch for the Tiger Cats.
You know, how many times have you heard coaches say that games come down to 3, 4, 5 plays? I mean, think back to the turn of events when Dave Donaldson had an interception in the first half, was called back on a very questionable pass interference call. Next play, Craig East has it. Hamilton touchdown. Ottawa gets a 2-0 in this series. Kai Ellis with the penalty. Now completion to Gilliam, and Danny McManus is into Ottawa's territory.
First down. Davis again, and Troy Davis. Nice little opening there. Makes a little extra on extra effort. Kyrie Bear makes the tackle. The gain is 6. Make it 8. The gain is 8.
Now the Renegades go from a team that was trying to build up some momentum in a desperate situation to a team that has to face another challenge. All of a sudden, Troy Davis is picking up yards. The passing game is back on track. And watch out, 77 for Davis so far.
Second down and a couple to go. That one was whistled down beforehand. 29,220 on hand at Iverwin for this one tonight. A virtual sellout And on the season, 250,585 in the stands here at Ivor Wynn. It is a remarkable story.
It's an unbelievable story, John, and I think more than anything for the entire league, and that includes any market, the big city markets in BC or Montreal, and maybe even the potential expansion markets in the Eastern Canada. Any dilemma can be overcome. Hamilton proved that this year.
New ownership has made a huge difference. McManus out pattern far side, and DJ Flick has it. 7 yards for Flick.
Timing pattern to the outside. The idea is that DJ Flick turns out like this just prior to the ball leaving the hands of Danny McManus after a little fake to the inside. I didn't draw the fake. I just showed you where he ended up.
Closing in on 1,000 yards, DJ Flick. 962 coming in. He's 5 yards away now. And Pigskin Pete is in rare form tonight. He's over 1,000. DJ Flick over 1,000 yards. He was a Renegade a year ago. And he's come on to Hamilton. Picked up 18 yards there and leading the Tiger Cats toward the playoff.
The old throw behind from Danny McManus. Play by design to throw it to the back hip of DJ Flick. And then basically the premise is DJ Flick throws on the brakes and George McCullough flies on by.
7 touchdowns on the year, 1,013 yards receiving. Troy Davis already the Tiger Cats leading rusher over his career, taking over the mark established in the 60s by Jerry McDougall. So Davis is having another one of those nights.
You're Kai Ellis right now with the Renegades. You're just hoping and praying that your football team can come up with a stop here and hold Hamilton to a field goal try.
And hoping even more that you might be part of that play that would stop this drive. Tiger Cats near the 10 on second down. McManus a little low. No catch ruled. Gilliam thinks that he should get credit for the catch. But they waved it out quickly. Third down.
Here's that matchup again. Talked about that in the first half. Gilliam against Donaldson. Does he make the catch or not? No, that's a great call by the officials because that hits the outside hand of Gilliam, bounces off the turf, and then back into his hands. But it happens in a split second for the officials. We get the luxury of the replay, and they made the right call.
Jamie Borum is in. 1 of 3 against the Blue Bombers last week, 1 of 4 against the Eskimos the week before. But the one that he made was good for the victory, a 47-yarder. He's in close again. This will be spotted at the 17. He's got this one. A critical play for the Tiger Cats, looking for a berth in the playoffs. These guys lead the league, and they play on opposite ends of the Tiger Cat line. Leading the league in sacks, Cheatwood and Montford 10 each. Montreal leads the parade with 41, and Purelator contributes the quarterback's weight in food to a local food bank for every sack in the CFL every season. Purelator, Canada's biggest courier company. And here's Big Joe, doesn't have one tonight. He'll be getting a little feisty now, don't you think?
It's amazing how much food has been donated, really, in this promotion, and how many people have been affected. I mean, it's just tremendous promotion and a ton of food.
Over 90 tons last year, in fact. Renegades will begin around the 33 on the return by Ronick of 18 yards. Brad Banks has looked smooth on occasion. Tossed for a touchdown and an interception. Thrown into the brink with the injury to Darnell Kennedy, who was thrown into the brink with the injury last week to Kerry Joseph.
Well, and here's the good news. And there you see Darnell Kennedy's equipment is now gone and in the bag, in the travel bag. And his hand in a cast.
first down. Mike Maurer for the Renegades. First touch of the game. Rod Fegg is down there.
With Armstead? All right, guys, I'm just talking to the Renegades trainer here to confirm that Jason Armstead has suffered a knee injury and doesn't look like he's going to come back in anytime soon. Of course, just more woes for the Renegades, and this is the gut check time that Joe Paopao was telling us about. See just how much heart this team still has, guys.
He has been the best offensive player for the Renegades over the last 6 games, 972 total yards. So Armstead has gone, it would appear. Banks complete. Jackson the catch. Curtis Jackson. Yards to spare and a key first down. Stopped by Wayne Shaw. Huge play for Ottawa right now.
Well, and now the Ottawa Renegades have to reach way down. I mean, now they're down to their 3rd-string quarterback. They've lost their most effective weapon in Jason Armstead. And they have to reach down and find a way. And Curtis Jackson gets them off to a good start with that big catch and run.
A 19-yard pickup. Renegades set up at the Tiger Cat 51. Brad Banks time. Close to an interception. Goss looking to atone for his fumble on the return earlier. Jason Goss on a pass intended for Curtis Jackson. It was almost going the other way.
Well, and Chris Martin almost had one, or did have one earlier on, just like this. He had an interception. Goss almost had it there. And, you know, Brad Banks just does not have, you know, enough knowledge, prior knowledge on the speed and abilities of this secondary in the Hamilton Tiger Cats. How much game film has he been able to watch on Jason Goss? Not a whole lot.
Well, Goss hasn't been around that long, really. 2nd and 10, Ottawa. Heat is on. Banks is down. There's Tim Cheatwood. That's sack number 11.
Alexander Gauthier was working on Tim Cheatwood, but you really have to share the blame here for the Renegades. One, Cheatwood uses his great speed off the edge, but there's a certain level that Brad Banks cannot get beyond in his depth from the shotgun. If he gets too deep here, Gauthier, who's trying to push Cheatwood past the quarterback, ends up pushing him right into Brad Banks.
Matt Fleming kicks this one down to Craig Yeast, and he'll step out just shy of the 30. It's Wendy's Friday Night Football from Ivor Wynn. On first down, Tiger Cats, Troy Davis is wrapped up at the 30.
Go with a little counter play there to Troy Davis and those big guys up front. Sliding to the right side of the formation. Right here. Tim Baker leading the way, pulling from the backside. And boy, this is an offensive line coached by Mark Murray that has really come together. The Hamilton Tiger Cats.
On 2nd down, McManus has Yeast. And this has been an impressive combination in recent weeks. Greg Yeast coming into the game with 836 yards and receptions and 4 touchdowns.
John, they don't get any of those yards, though, if you don't have an offensive line that can get the job done. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats lead the league in sacks against, fewest sacks allowed. Coming into this one, they just had given up 10 on the season. They also have the leading rusher in the CFL in Troy Davis. You can't do all that without an offensive line. Look at this.
And the offensive line works pretty well at number 32. Does it not? He is the leading rusher in the Canadian Football League and the leading rusher in Tiger Cat history as it stands as of tonight.
Right now, the leader of that group is the middle guy, and that's Carl Coulter. The veteran of 15 seasons in the CFL is going to lead Troy Davis on this one, get his hands on Reggie Gibbons, the middle linebacker for the Ottawa Renegades. Carl Coulter's the guy who pulls them together. He's got a rookie in Wayne Smith on right side, a rotation in Tim Baker and Pascal Chiron on the other. He has pulled that group together.
2nd and 1. Tiger Cats just across midfield, no problem for the first down. And thoughts from Carl Coulter on the play of this Tiger Cat offensive line in 2004.
it's all about communication. We've had relatively the same guys in here for the last few years with a couple of changes here and there. And it just seems that whoever we bring in seems to fit in nicely. Maybe it's the way that we conduct ourselves, our attitude in practice towards films, whatever it is. We just take a lot of pride in what we do, and we make sure that the young guys that come in are on the same page as us.
McManus on first down. Tumkara at the 30. If Tumkara has a huge gain for the Tiger Cats, and McManus had all the time in the world.
John, has anyone from the Renegade defense even been close to Danny McManus tonight? Like, I mean, even in the same area code? Watch the boys up front here. Hey, Danny McManus has had time to go to the second, the third, no one in his face. Tim Fleiser got there way late. I mean, this offensive line has shut the door. Look at them work together, side to side. They move as one, and when your offensive line is moving as one, it is tough to beat. I mean, this is where a group has to be on the same page. That's the guy who gets them on that page. But boy, they were together. You see how they shifted to the right all together? Then they all shifted, all five of them, back to the left.
As always, you get to do the math, but Danny McManus at 210 yards passing tonight, closing in on that magical mark of 50,000 through his wonderful career.
Carl Coulter's been his center for a lot of those passing yards, and he's the guy who starts the play by making sure Danny McManus gets the football clean. There it is, 210 yards tonight. He needed 299 coming in. 88?
89. There you go. You had it right there. I was so proud of you. I was so proud. You know, you can say an awful lot about a lot of the guys who have played this game, but when you travel and spend a little time with Danny McManus, you know, those are special moments on airplanes or maybe for the one pop after a victory somewhere along the way. And it wasn't a happy time last year at all for these Tiger Cats, but things have turned around and they have 7 times as many wins as they did a year ago. McManus with a first down at the 30. And look at Troy Davis. The quick moves after he hit the line. And Davis is having another one of those nights.
Yeah, and you talk about Danny McManus, and the other guy that is like that and has been throughout his entire career, and talking just first class, has been number 51, Carl Coulter. You know, and the center is always calling all the plays, and he's been another guy that we've had many a conversation, and a guy who's been a big part of this Canadian Football League for 15 seasons. Same amount as Danny McManus.
Davis over 100. 105 prior to that, so he's at about 107 now, Troy Davis. That was his 19th carry. And that was the final play of the third quarter as the Tiger Cats continue the drive and lead the Renegades by a touchdown at 14-7.
At the quarter, brought to you by Reebok, the only brand that hangs in every CFL locker.
Yes, Danny McManus is marching towards 50,000 passing yards. Yes, the Ticats are driving again, but it's a ball game here.
Yes.
14-7. Ottawa has things going their way in that department, and Hamilton better close this off or they're going to suffer what could be an embarrassing and costly loss.
You're right, David.
Yeah.
But you know what? 14-7, but I would say Hamilton is clearly control. And the reason I say that is the running game is working so well you can start doing things like this. And when play action is working for you, there's what the play action does to all these guys right in there. It sucks them right up, and that opens up the throwing lane so that McManus can get that ball to Tumkara. And when you're having your way with a running game like Troy Davis is right now, it just opens up all your options, Chris. And right now, I'd say, despite the fact that the score is close, Hamilton's very much in control.
Chuck, I agree with you. Hamilton is in control, but I'm telling you, Ottawa is dangerous because right now, Brad Banks, Demetrius Bendros are making some very spontaneous and also some great plays in structure. Watch first here, Brad Banks. Nice little fake. But look at here as he leans, throws opposite the flow of his body. And how about Demetrius Bendros? Nice foot right in on the sideline marker. That is a great spontaneous play. That's what coaches look for. They look for players who can make those type of plays. Then hopefully through their coaching, they can make the structured plays. Nice job, Brad Banks, Demetrius Bendros.
And not bad for a guy who was supposedly very rusty because he had 9 weeks off due to an injury. Wasn't supposed to play tonight, but they're only down by touchdown heading into the fourth and final quarter in Hamilton.
Well, they've had a lot of fun at Ivor Wynn on the season so far. I think that's your champion right there.
Good flexibility there, but we got big.
Not so
Oh, no. Are you allowed to just
oh, yeah, that's no. There was a foul call before she fell down there. So the Tiger Cats begin the fourth quarter, looking at 3rd and 1. And the cheer would indicate that Julian Radlin has plenty to move the yardsticks. Through 3 quarters, it looks like this.
Troy Davis, majority of the 108 yards rushing for the Ticats, is the Ticat all-time leader in rushing category. 210 yards passing for Danny McManus. He creeps up that list and is now 89 yards shy of 50,000 in his career.
It really is a remarkable achievement. Only 2 other quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League have tossed for 50,000. McManus on the verge tonight. Troy Davis, left side, 5-yard line, down to the 3.
And again, you know, I want to emphasize that records in the running categories, milestones like 50,000 passing just doesn't happen unless you have an offensive line that can get it done. I want to show you a lead block by 59 Wayne Smith, the rookie, right there on Gerald Vaughn that makes this play happen for Troy Davis. I mean, he goes out and gets Vaughn, then he goes up and picks up one of the guys in the secondary. Oh, baby. Those guys up front are going crazy right now. I mean, they are getting it done and have all year.
First overall, chosen by the Tiger Cats this year, 6'2", 305. And Hamilton with the opportunity here from the 3. Not this time. Troy Davis. 2 more cracks at it from in close.
Well, give the Renegade defensive line some credit there because, you know, all the momentum now back to the Hamilton Tiger Cat bench. They have a drive going. The O-line is blowing guys off the ball. And they, you know, they're backed up on their goal line, and that Renegade defensive line and linebacking crew, they played well there. Can they do it again?
An impressive drive beginning at the 28. 2nd and goal to go from here. Davis still standing, lost the ball. And the Renegades turn it back, recovered by Seneca Taylor. Davis, that little extra stretch.
You know, John, I've said it many times. Sometimes they try and reach with that football. Finally caught one guy.
Taylor took it away.
Hold it down, G-Town. What's up, Mark? All y'all back in
Ticats haven't locked this thing up yet. 11 plays to cover 81 yards in a time of 6:28.
Now, I just
0 points go on the board.
Just talked to the officials recently about this very play. They will give a running back a chance, a split second to reach the football across and break the plane before they blow the whistle. That also allows the defensive player a chance to rip the ball out of there, and that's what Seneca Taylor did.
So here are the Renegades trailing by a touchdown. Brad Banks at the controls. And he was 5 yards too far for Curtis Jackson there.
Now, John, this is something that's come up before because sometimes you'll say, well, the running back's momentum was stopped, right? And then they'll say, but he reached the ball across and crossed the plane of the goal line right there, right? Well, he hasn't crossed the plane of that goal line, but the officials will give him a chance to do it, but it also gives the defender a chance to rip it out of there. Seneca Taylor does that when Troy Davis tried to break the plane.
Taylor denies the touchdown. Lots of time to go. 12 minutes remaining, 4th quarter. Banks, time to throw. Flags are down, and the ball is on the ground. Curtis Jackson was the target, and we'll check the infraction.
Flags are down in the defensive secondary. Hamilton Tiger Cats. How about a gutsy performance by this Ottawa defense?
Illegal contact on the receiver. Hamilton 29. First down.
Backs against the wall. Desperate game. Must win or their playoff hopes are gone. And many times in this game, the Ottawa Renegades could have just said, you know what, this season's done. Let's pack our bags and head home.
They like how they're starting quarterback. And they're still scrambling with the first down Ottawa. Trailing only by a touchdown. Josh Rennick. And on 1st and 10, it's a difficult situation for Rennick to run the football a lot of times.
Well, you know, Joe Palpal's got to keep balance in the offense, and he's got to find a way with, you know, he's running out of bounds. Forget about who plays where and getting the best player in the right position. He just needs 12 to get on the field at this point. He's got injuries to his quarterbacks. He's got injuries to his star receiver, Jason Armstead, and yet the Renegades are still down. You got to give him a lot of credit for that.
Curtis Jackson to the near side. It's 2nd down and 7. Banks looks to take out, spins, he's caught from behind, and dragged to the turf. Donovan Carter was there.
Well, as much as the crowd here in Hamilton love the stock for the Hamilton defense, this has got to be considered a win for Ottawa. They were down on the 1-yard line. There's Donovan Carter right there. He's going to end up making this play. He steps up the field and then comes all the way from the backside. The Renegades were looking at a touchdown against that really could have put this one, well, put them in a bind, to say the least.
I might have put it right out of reach.
Yeah, in the 4th quarter.
In this stadium at this time.
Punting the ball is a win for Ottawa.
Pat Fleming gets it out near midfield. Craig East, a little seam, still on his feet, crossing the 45. He's at the 43. Coming up, Rogers Player of the Game. Rogers Your World right now. Use text messaging. Type in Go CFL. And then vote for your Player of the Game. It's your choice tonight, folks. We only offer a few nominations as we go along.
Troy Davis over 100 yards and became the all-time leading rusher in Ticat history. It's a close game, and Curtis Jackson has made some plays for the Ottawa Renegades.
Only a touchdown separating these two teams. Ottawa on the brink of elimination. Hamilton on the brink of making the playoffs, and caught from behind, Troy Davis.
Well, I mean, he's made some plays too. Reggie Gibbons. You know, Reggie Gibbons covered a whole bunch of ground and caught a running back from behind that doesn't get caught from behind. Troy Davis doesn't get caught from behind. Reggie Gibbons got in behind him there.
Runner-up as Defensive Player of the Week last week in a loss to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He played extremely well in a close game.
6th start for Reggie Gibbons.
2nd and 7. McManus looks to put it up. And flags are down. Claude Fagg is patrolling the sidelines and checking things out.
Well, John, Glenn talked about how the Renegades would love to be able to throw 12 healthy guys out there no matter what the position. Well, you can scratch another healthy body off the Renegades list. Kelly Wiltshire, one of their defensive warriors, is now out of the game with a sprained left knee. He's got a nice pack on it, so you do the math. Kennedy, Armstead, Wiltshire, not looking good for the Renegades, guys.
142 consecutive starts for Kelly Wiltshire.
69. Penalties decline. 3rd down.
So although he may get to continue that streak next week, he is out of this one tonight, it would appear.
It really has been amazing to consider the injuries, and to their credit, Joe Palpal and the coaching staff have not all season long used it as an excuse for why they've struggled since their 3-0 start.
Jamie Borum in to kick a 45-yarder, or at least attempted. He nailed a 47-yarder for the win against the Eskimos after struggling in that game 2 weeks ago, but he got the game winner in the final seconds of that victory over Edmonton. So here he tries from 45 with Yeast holding. Has he got it? No. Not enough leg. Could have been an important couple of points, but Bendros avoids it there, and he's up to around the 17. The Renegades are 1 play away from tying this thing up. Trailing the Tiger Cats 14-7. Brad Banks is the quarterback. Shovel pass, Josh Ronick. And Ronick fights for close to 9 yards.
This is a series of plays and a play that the Ottawa Renegades ran with great success early on in the season, and for a few reasons went away from it a little bit. One is the defense has got wise to this play as Josh Ronick comes under on that shovel series. You know, the other is we talked about their second down conversion problems and running out of reps to get that in there, but it is a great series with Josh Ronick.
The game was 8, 2nd and 2. Renegades from the 25. Ronick again. This will be the first down.
You know, you really have to give a lot of credit to the Ottawa Renegades. I mean, they are, you mentioned it, John, one play away from tying this football game up. Decimated by injuries. I mean, just hit hard by injuries, and yet they continue to battle. I mean, Josh Ronick, he's running as hard right now in those last 2 plays as he did in play 1 of this game.
First down, Ottawa. Pressure on Banks, got it away. Ronick makes the catch and spins most of the way to a first down as Ronick is out near the 38.
Boy, he was close there. He was very, very close to a big, big play. I mean, 8 yards is great production on first down, but this was, look at this, just barely did Donovan Carter get a little piece of him, and then just barely did Chris Martin just get an arm on Ronick, or he's gone for another 30, 40 yards.
Another 8 yards for Ronick. Another 2nd and 2 Ottawa. Ronick again, and another first down. A nice sequence engineered so far on this drive by Brad Banks in at quarterback for Darnell Kennedy, who's out for the season, and he has gone to Ronick on every play, including that shovel pass that got this thing rolling.
But this is the Ronick drive, and this we talked about. They have to lean on him. Finally, they are starting to lean on Josh Ronick, and it looks like he will. Well, he's real close here. They're measuring it, but he has touched the football on every play of this drive so far and has produced first downs for the football team.
And there's another officially now with 6:30 on the clock here at Ivor Wynn.
And now what it does, John, too, is because they keep pounding it up there with Josh Ronick and he's having success, play action now can really work for you. Play action now for Banks can slow down the momentum of a Joe Mumford and a Jim Cheatwood, because now in the back of Cheatwood's mind, in the back of Mumford's mind, they've got number 30. We got to stop number 30.
Yeah, and they can't overcommit is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Ronick again appeared to stumble that time, and he was pinned by Donovan Carter, number 2.
Now, it was about to be some kind of collision there as Donovan Carter slid over from his linebacker spot, a former Ottawa Renegade, and I thought there was going to be sparks flying, and then Josh Ronick slipped.
2-yard gain, 2nd and 8 to come.
And there was going to be some kind of contact here. And, oh, he just slipped down.
Time ticks away on the Renegades. 5:34 to go. Brad Banks looks to put it up. Now he escapes. It'll be a first down Renegades out across the 50 at the 51.
That's a gutsy performance by Brad Banks. He has no options here but one, and that's to run. And makes the last guy miss for first down yardage. Mumford just goes a bit past him on the high side. And this move right there in the open field gets Brad Banks the first down. He's a better runner than people give him credit for.
Well, and we just haven't seen a whole bunch of Brad Banks. An 11-yard pickup there, and the Tiger Cats haven't seen him either. 4:42 to go. One touchdown between these two. Play action fake. Banks stands in. Look for a target. He's got Woodcock.
John, play action. They're saying that this will be a catch from Woodcock.
Ticats don't agree, but it is Woodcock coming up with his first touch of the game, a 40-yard reception.
I mentioned play action. Look at the time Brad Banks has to throw. If not for some success from Josh Ronick, he doesn't have that kind of time, and Woodcock made that catch down the field.
It is a 40-yard gain. The Renegades are knocking at the Tiger Cats' door. Joe Montford, Tim Cheatwood, trying to get to the rookie quarterback. Josh Ronick, and Cheatwood wrapped him up. He ran right smack dab into 49.
Let's see the balance. You know, the balance. And now talk about a turn of events going the other way. This drive started down here in Ottawa territory. The turnover when Troy Davis tried to punch it over. All the way back come the Ottawa Renegades, down by 7 points with a huge opportunity here.
3:14 to go. Second and 8 Ottawa. Season hangs in the balance on this drive for the Renegades. Banks wrapped up.
Johnny Scott.
And we haven't seen much from Johnny Scott in the big play department, although he is there on virtually every play in the middle of things down there. And that is the third sack by the Tiger Cats.
The fourth quarter is brought to you by Kellogg's Vector. Vector, official food energy of the CFL. Fuel up.
Three minutes to go. The season on the line for the Renegades. Brian Holmes, the third kicker the Renegades have used so far this season, has been called upon to kick the field goal to get Ottawa within 4. Now they've changed their plans.
I think they have a problem with the numbers out there.
Okay, so now they are going to kick. Miscommunication. Ticats ball out at midfield.
You know, John, initially it looked to me like the Renegades may be a man short, but then when I recounted them, I counted 12. They could possibly have been trying to set up some sort of fake that the Hamilton Tiger Cats did not bite on. When Fleming went to the sideline, the holder, did he go to the sideline to possibly set up some kind of fake? The Hamilton Tiger Cats maybe did not give Ottawa the look they wanted, so they went back to the field goal formation and then couldn't get that done because of the high snap, and Fleming couldn't handle it.
That's the kind of year it's been for Joe Paopao. Chris Martin recovering the ball with 2:33 to go. And Danny McManus has a 7-point lead. Troy Davis will see the bulk of the work for the Tiger Cat offense here. And the game story looks like this, brought to you by Sport Check, proud supporter of the CFL.
Troy Davis becomes the Tiger-Cat all-time leading rusher.
Danny McManus may come up a little shy of that 50,000 career mark with 2:26 remaining on this one.
Ticats with a win or a tie tonight can clinch a playoff spot.
And currently Hamilton holds on to a 7-point advantage. McManus looks at second down here, and he looks to Troy Davis.
Well, the Renegade defense gets the stop they need, but they've given up so much field position on the miscues. A sack on Brad Banks by Johnny Scott, and then a botched attempt on the field goal has put Joe Paopao squad in a deep hole. But
2:07 remains. That's the but.
Which is plenty of time. 2:07, and you're down by 1 converted major.
Bendross drops deep. Jamie Borum near his 45. came close. The Ticats give lots of room to Bedros. And then a flag flies. 1:40 remains. Right after we're done, we'll show you how this one finishes on SportsCenter. The Tiger Cats have found a lot of new fans in 2004. The Tiger Cats are on the verge of making the playoffs after being out of contention in about week 10 last year. Hamilton leading by a touchdown. It's Ottawa ball, and the Renegades begin at the 10. Brad Banks has Ronick. Open field for Josh Ronick, and he's tough to bring down. He's out to the 30. Chris Martin making the tackle there.
Great call to start things off for the Ottawa Renegades. Little draw, or a little screen, I should say, to Josh Ronick. Slips out of the backfield. He has a nice picket fence set up. George Hudson with a nice block at the point of attack.
Collar's getting a little tight on that Tiger Cat bench. They have controlled this game much of the way. And the Renegades look to escape here. A first down, catch made by Jackson. Nice tackle at the 34 by Rob Hitchcock, who held on.
1:14 remaining. Now Brad Banks will try and call the plays on the line of scrimmage. The Ticats so far in these first two downs of the series have gone with four-man pressure, dropped everyone else back. Now with this defensive line, they can get pressure with four. Makes it that much tougher for Brad Banks to throw the ball down the field in that intermediate zone.
This is 2nd and 5. Banks with a little time. He'll get the first down. The Renegades are still alive. 50 seconds to go.
50 seconds is plenty of time, but you got to believe that Brad Banks is going to need a play of about 20 yards somewhere in this drive, somewhere in this series. He's got to get one down the middle or down the sideline of about 20, 25 yards.
Yo Murphy picks up 11 yards. First down, Ottawa. At the 46. Four receivers far side. Banks looks to the near side and missed his target. No catch. Bedros was the intended receiver. And there's a penalty flag down in the Renegades backfield. In fact, there are two.
George Hudson.
Now there are three.
And Tim Cheatwood were in a brawl. Now, Hudson's helmet's off. I'm not sure if he threw it off or it was thrown off for him. Either way, that's a penalty for sure.
That might have been the third flag.
Well, let's take a look. Here's Cheatwood working on the stunt on Hudson. Plays over, little push there by Hudson. Something said by Cheatwood, and then they went at it. You could see Cheatwood said something in the ear of George Hudson. They turned around. There was a flag there. And the fight happened, and then Hudson threw his helmet off.
It may take a minute to settle this. Joe Paopao and the Renegades need a win,
John,
to keep playoff hopes alive.
And how they settle this penalty will go a long way. The comeback effort for the Ottawa Renegades.
We've got objectionable conduct, disqualification, Hamilton 49.
Wow.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Ottawa 52. Objectionable conduct, helmet violation, Ottawa 52. Second down.
Okay, so we got the one correct. The helmet came off. That was the third flag. Tim Cheatwood has to leave this game. And from the replay we saw, it had to be because of something he said.
So here's what's going to happen to the Renegades, however. The yards marched off against Hudson will make this second and nearly impossible.
Well, because they would have basically equaled out except for the helmet penalty at the end of that from George Hudson. Tim Cheatwood makes his way to an early shout.
Well, it's not that early. 36 seconds left on the clock.
Early compared to the rest of the squad.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying he's not going to use all the hot water by the time this is over, unless the Renegades get even here and we see a little overtime. But look at this, 2nd and 30 for the Renegades, and a rookie at the controls. A little difficult to pull off something here, although they have nothing left to play for except these next 2 chances. 2 downs remain. They need 30 yards in 36 seconds. Well, in less than 36 to have a chance.
Well, yeah, and you know, in fairness, the Hamilton Tiger Cats have controlled this game for the most part from start to finish. It got the effort for the Renegades a couple times down on their goal line. They could have quit many times in this game. They lost their starting quarterback, who's really their backup quarterback, in Darnell Kennedy early, but they battled. They're within 7. They still have hope. But this has been a game that has been dominated, basically. Well, not dominated is the wrong word.
No, it is.
It's been controlled by
the Tiger Cats, but they haven't had the killer instinct to put Ottawa away when they've had opportunities. So here we go. 2nd and 30 for the Renegades. Back at the 26. 36 seconds to go. Banks looks to escape. He gets out of there, throwing on the run. As his target, Woodcock, with 2 big catches in this game late. He's out across midfield.
Oh, boy.
And how close?
He got it. He got the first down. Oh, my. Brad Banks gets the first down with his legs and finds a wide open Pat Woodcock, who's had a tough season but has come up with 2 big catches in this game.
2 catches for Woodcock, 1 for 40 yards. This one for 34. Renegades are not cooked yet. 18 seconds to go. Banks stands in. He's got Jackson, 9 seconds, make it 8. Marcus Spencer with the tackle.
John, it went from 8 to 7 in a hurry. There's 7 showing on the clock now.
They may have to add a couple there.
Well, we'll see, because the officials are talking. They want to know if a couple slipped off there with the old home field advantage.
It's been known to happen.
Bottom line is, here for the Renegades is now at the 27-yard line. They could throw the football to the end zone in one play. If they get a couple of seconds back on, which it doesn't look like they're going to, they have to be careful not to have this die. Do you try to go for 2 plays, make a quick one, get within striking range, say 15-yard line, or do you go for it all right now?
Made all the more difficult by the fact you're playing with a rookie at quarterback right now. 7 seconds to go. First down, Renegades. They're down by a touchdown. Banks looks to the end zone. He's got it. Oh, baby! Got 3 catches in a row. That's his whole season. Pat Woodcock. 0's on the clock. Woodcock gets the Renegades within a point. Oh, baby! To come.
Pat Woodcock. What a catch. What a gutsy performance by the Ottawa Renegades. But they have to get this extra point.
The newcomer to kick. Ryan Holmes, flags are down. A 99-yard drive for the touchdown.
2nd and 30 for Brad Banks. 2nd and 30. He goes 34 to Pat Woodcock.
Then 25 to Woodcock for the touchdown. They get 23.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
The convert is good. We're even. we're ready for overtime. 14-14 on the DeFasco clock in the Tiger Cats end zone. And this one has slipped away from the Hamilton Tiger Cats for the time being, at least.
TSN.
Brad Banks has done the impossible, at least almost impossible. He has brought the Renegades back to even with the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Well, it starts at 2nd and 30, and then this, after they convert, Pat Woodcock with a 34-yard catch, finds an opening in the end zone, has to go back against the flow to catch this one. Brad Banks will roll to his left, and they'll back against the flow and back into the backside. And what change of direction for Pat Woodcock with the pressure on him.
It's not over yet. The Renegades showing no quit. The Tiger Cats feeling the heat. It has changed the whole swing of the momentum here. And think about the Tiger Cats going into overtime with uncertainty, I should say, around their kicker.
Well, it looked like the Hamilton Tiger Cats won the toss and will elect to play defense first in overtime. So they'll see what Ottawa can get and see then what they have to match when they get their turn.
Here are the Renegades, first crack at it. In OT, Banks, slant in pattern. And David Azzi has his first catch of the game. It comes in extra time. And it's good for a first down.
Well, I just, you can't say enough about the guts from this Ottawa Renegade football team and the courage that they have battled back. I mean, they could have quit many times. They lost Armstead. They lost Darnell Kennedy. Pat Woodcock steps up. He's had a tough season with injuries. He comes up big when they need him most.
First down, Ottawa. Again, same play, Azzi. Jason Goss to make the tackle.
Now keep in mind that a tie in this game also clinches a playoff spot for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The Renegades have to win it. Greg Marshall just has to tie it. All he has to do is match Ottawa in this overtime.
Ticats with one time already on the season against the Argonauts a few weeks ago. Renegades looking at 2nd and 2. Ronick breaks a tackle, breaks a couple in fact. He's inside the 10.
And remember, they attack right now Ottawa with Josh Ronick, the left side of the defensive formation for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Who normally lines up there in this formation?
49.
Tim Cheatwood. He's in the showers. Disqualified in this game. Matt Petts has stepped in for Cheatwood, and that's exactly where Ottawa attacked with Josh Ronick right there. Now Devontae Peterson, who is in for an injured Adriano Belli. Looks like now he'll have to go out for at least 3 plays, no matter how bad, as he grabs his right calf muscle.
And so who's left? Well, nobody listed.
John McDonald.
Except John McDonald.
That's right. So he'll have to come and play inside. Matt Petts fills in for Tim Cheatwood, and their next choice would be to move a linebacker up into the defensive line and maybe play. There's McDonald there, and behind him I was going to mention Rob Hitchcock. And maybe Hitchcock comes in the linebacking core, and that's really their only choice. So McDonald has to go in the game now in overtime in a crucial situation.
Dennis McPhee,
on
the sidelines.
And Dennis McPhee. Dennis McPhee. Okay, so just go forward and just stop whoever has the ball.
Just plug it up. Plug it up as best you can. Overtime, and there's lots more ahead from Ivor Wynn. Another terrific finish on Wendy's Friday Night Football. Guaranteed. We're in overtime. The Renegades trying to stay alive and keep their slim playoff chances intact. against the Tiger Cats, who are 1 point away from clinching a playoff spot for the first time in 3 years. Overtime will settle this. Matt Woodcock had the touchdown, and here are the Renegades with 3 cracks at it. 3 cracks at the end zone from the 9. Quarterback is Brad Banks. The runner is Josh Ronick. And he's across the 5 down to about the 4.
Yeah, well, not a big surprise that Josh Ronick's going to see the football with a depleted defensive line in front of him. Why not go ahead and attack the line of scrimmage with Josh Ronick?
Renegades obviously gunning for a touchdown here. The Tiger Cats will have the right to match if, in fact, Ottawa can cross the line and score back-to-back touchdowns. Number 5, Ronick again. What a play. Donovan Carter.
What a play from Donovan Carter. The former Ottawa Renegade makes a huge one for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Penetration from Donovan Carter as he blows right by Val St. Germain, who was trying to pull around from the right side of that offensive line, pick up Carter, and Carter beat the block.
Brian Holmes for the Renegades, sharp angle. Spotted at the 16. He's got it. So now, what are you thinking at the Tiger Cat bench? Your kicker has struggled. Jamie Borum, good on 61%. He's had a tough night. And that's what the Tiger Cats have to do at the very least, is match this field goal.
He struggled, John, but remember back when he struggled a couple of weeks ago, missed 2 short ones against the Edmonton Eskimos. And what? And what did Greg Marshall do when the game was on the line and he was 47 yards away? He put him right back in there and do it. And he made it.
He made the kick. He made the kick from 47 after missing a couple from 15. Now it's the veteran McManus standing in. No catch. Craig Yeast took it off the turf.
But the first thing they have to do is get into reasonable field goal range. You know, right now, if they line up and don't get a first down, you know, you're looking at a 42-yarder. You know, a 42-yarder in the first quarter, you think is very makeable. The 42-yarder in overtime with playoffs sort of in the balance is a little bit different when you're talking the pressure on the kicker.
McManus, 2nd and 10, stands in, looks to the end zone, tipped away.
Oh, my goodness.
He had a target.
The newcomer back there in his first game, Corey Banks, could have won the game. Could have won the game for the Ottawa Renegades with an interception.
Morielli could have won it for the Tiger Cats.
Well, exactly.
Right?
You go down the seam, but this is an underthrown ball, and Banks had the best chance at it. He cut under the throw. And he intercepts that football.
And it's
over.
Good night,
Ottawa has won it.
Goalpost might have been a bit of a factor there. So here you go for the tie. Jamie Borum from 37 and 45. This from 47 yards to force extra time in overtime. Has he got it?
We'll go again.
We'll go again. 42-yard field goal.
Boy, Jamie Borum has struggled, but he's made some big kicks in the last few weeks. Wow. 42-yarder. Whoa. And you can't get any more pressure on you for a kicker than that. In overtime, you have to match or you lose. Remember, when they kicked it in Edmonton, it was a kick for overtime. It wasn't a kick to win or lose. This is a win or lose kick. He misses this baby, Ottawa wins the game.
Officially from 42 yards at 17-17. So let's go the other way and do it all over. again.
One more try at it. Now this will be the last attempt. This time the Hamilton Tiger Cats will get the football first. The Ottawa Renegades will get a chance to match, and they'll move to the opposite end of the field. So this capacity crowd, the other side of it, can get the first-hand action.
Joe Paopau's Ottawa Renegades.
Do they have a couple more plays in them? And that's what he must be thinking right now. Can they reach down one or two more times?
From the 35, Troy Davis. And he's got the 25-yard line, it would appear.
And in some ways, John, if the Renegades can get a stop here, in other words, force Greg Marshall to put his field goal team on the field, then now the Renegades, because they're going second, have the advantage. They know then it's three-down football for them. They have to have the major because they have to have the win. It takes all the guesswork out of it. But they need to stop first on defense.
Second and inches. Oh! Davis is upended. He won't get the first down.
Well, and may have even lost a yard. May have even lost a yard.
Oh my.
Now Greg Marshall has gone more than once and gambled on 3rd and 1 in crucial situations.
But this is for all the marbles. This is for your playoff spot. And I realize the Tiger Cats have 2 more games to get 1 point. But it won't get any easier after this, as Hamilton lines up against Toronto next, and then Ottawa in Ottawa on the final week of the season. They're down.
Boy, he just rolled across the outside of the pile and got it.
Troy Davis will have the first down, and the Tiger Cats continue the drive. I wonder how Greg Marshall is enjoying his first year in the CFL.
He's loving every minute of it. You know, it's been refreshing to watch Greg Marshall coach in the CFL. You know, believe it or not, heading into this season, people thought that the hiring of Greg Marshall was a gamble. I would say it was a great decision. Well, on behalf of Ron Lancaster and Bob Young.
Yeah, they made a lot of really fine decisions here. At one point this evening, Bob Young was standing on the sidelines at one of the quarter breaks and got a roaring ovation from 29,000 fans here.
And that may be the key hiring for the franchise out of the gate. And you have to believe, at the very least, Greg Marshall is a candidate for Coach of the Year, if not the front runner.
Well, I'd say he's the front runner, but
well, he's got to be a candidate.
He has to be a candidate.
And he has done it his way in a lot of instances. I mean, first and foremost out of the gate, he put all his confidence in a quarterback in Danny McManus that many thought was finished for his career. And Bob Young hired Greg. There's Bob Young. He hires Greg Marshall. Marshall puts his confidence in the quarterback, and then Bob, you know what Bob Young does? Steps away and lets Ron Lancaster and Greg Marshall run the football operations.
Do you think Bob Young has had fun this season?
I think he's had a blast. And he's been here at every game, and he's always down shaking hands with the fans in the end zone. And boy, has he shown the entire country that, you know, when you do it right, it can be a pretty special thing.
Well, local ownership makes a heck of a difference in this league, without question. Well, we've got them on standby back at Sports Center, but Petition and Hedger are ready whenever we are ready to toss it back, and this game is over. Overtime at Ivor Wynne in Hamilton. Lots on the line. The Tiger Cats a point away from making the playoffs. After only winning 1 game in 2003, these guys have won 7 times and tied once, and are on the verge of being in the playoffs for the first time in 3 years.
Now, for the Renegades, yet another injury, John, and that's why we've had a little time here. And it looks fairly serious. John Turntine, it was a leg injury, and you can see he's had to go off on the cart as they stabilize that leg. He was at the bottom of that pile when Troy Davis picked up the first down. So yet another injury for the Ottawa Renegades.
So here are the Tiger Cats in overtime against the Renegades, even at 17. Second possession for Hamilton. First down for McManus. There they go! DJ Flick. And 6 points written all over that.
Yeah, but you know what? The veteran Gerald Vaughn got his hand up, and he may even have touched him. I'm not sure. I mean, it was that close. If anything, he distracted DJ Flick just enough. Right there, the ball arrived. It kind of surprised him. And Gerald Vaughn distracted him just enough.
So 2nd and 10. Ticats. Troy Davis, left side, he won't get there. Kicking time. George McCullough making the play there. That time for Ottawa.
Well, you would think automatic kicking time, but you know, as the field goal team was coming on the field, they were all kind of walking slowly, looking at Greg Marshall, wondering if maybe he might just try.
Yeah, but this is 3rd and 7.
I know. Hey, believe me, I know. But remember, early in the game, he went on 3rd and 5 as well. But this is overtime, and you got to take the field goal and take the points. Put your defense on the field.
Borum made his last one from 42. The 3 points on the board for the Tiger Cats right now.
Well, they switch it around. We have a chance because it's Friday night.
Oh-ho! And it's
boy,
time for the Gladiator.
There's been some candidates tonight, and for a while, it looked like it may be a Hamilton Tiger Cat offensive lineman, but what a gutsy performance by the 3rd-string quarterback for the Ottawa Renegades, Brad Banks, converted a 2nd and 30 to keep a drive alive, and in the dying seconds, hit Pat Woodcock. A nice throw to the outside. He's our Gladiator tonight.
No argument there. Brad Banks has the ball. No flags on that play. It'll be 2nd and 10 Renegades. Veronic was the target, I do believe. Numbers on Banks. Couple of touchdowns, 277 yards in relief.
Gee, I tell you what, you know the opportunity that we talked about Darnell Kennedy had at the beginning of this game? Brad Banks has made the best of his opportunity. Put this team in the 2nd overtime is saying something.
Jackson makes the catch, stopped short of the first down, lost the ball. Ticats have won. The Ticats have clinched a spot in the playoffs. Jackson fumbled it. The Ticats get it. Jason Goss, one of the newcomers. And this place is alive.
A gutsy performance for the Ottawa Renegades. But from a 1-17 season a year ago, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, they have to go to double overtime to seal the deal. Tackling in the open field, and the newcomer, Goss, picks up the fumble and clinches a playoff spot for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
It has been a truly remarkable story at Iverwin Stadium all season long, and that is the final home game of the regular season. Dare the Tiger Cats dream that they might have a chance to host one of the playoff games in the CFL East. Well, they'll have to win out, and they'll have to get a little help, but it's been fun watching Marshall and his troops, hasn't it?
No matter how far they go in the playoffs, it has been some kind of year for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Wendy's, the official hamburger of the CFL. Wendy's, it's better here. By Molson Canadian, I am Canadian. By Rona, the how-to people. And by Rogers, your world right now.